teams that are in contention generally are playing their best football, and sometimes it comes down to the emotion of the game or the mental preparation of the players themselves. And both the University of Alberta and the University of Calgary are contending for a playoff spot, so I expect it to be an excellent football game.
It's really quite simple. We're in a position that if we win the game, we're in the playoffs, and if we lose the game, we're 99% out.
For the players, this battle is about emotion.
It's the hardest hit team we usually play. So when we go up against them, we know that you got to keep your head on the swivel. You got to be ready to get hit and also give it hits.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's the most important game, always.
It's Calgary. It's Alberta. It's Canada's best provincial rivalry. Next. Edmonton, TSN proudly presents CIAU football. This afternoon, Canada West action as the defending Atlantic Bowl champion Calgary Dinosaurs visit their provincial rivals, the Alberta Golden Bears. Hi everybody, welcome to CIAU football on TSN. I'm Gord Miller. For most of this season, the Saskatchewan Huskies have been the team to beat in Canada West. They still are, with a difference. Saskatchewan scored a big win over Calgary last week at McMahon Stadium, but also suffered a big loss in that football game. In a snowstorm at McMahon, Maury Norston goes in for the touchdown to give the Huskies a 7-0 lead early on. But then in the second quarter, bad news for Saskatchewan when quarterback Brent Schneider rolls out and is crushed by a pair of Calgary defenders. Torn knee ligaments. He could be out for the season. But Maury Norston's big day continued. He hauled in the pass from backup Colin Rioux, scored his second touchdown of the game. Huskies win it 16-6, remain in first place. The question is, will they get Brent Schneider back, and how will they play without him? Two teams make the playoffs in Canada West. The situation's simple this afternoon. If Alberta wins, it's in and Calgary's out. If Calgary wins by 5 or more, the Dinosaurs are in and Alberta's out. Joining me once again is our CIAU football analyst, Jamie Bone. And Jamie, the Calgary Dinosaurs went to the Vanier Cup last year, quarterbacked by John Kalin. He's gone. Jason Askin, who split the time with him last year, takes his place and takes the responsibility.
And Jason Askin must be asking himself, where has the running game gone? Because Calgary, primarily known as Tailback U out here in Canada West, no longer. It's up to Jason Askin this year to get it done for them, and actually he has responded quite well, throwing close to 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns. Peter Cannellan, the head coach of Calgary, said if they're going to get to the Vanier Cup again this year, the pressure really is on Jason Askin.
Now, from the Alberta side of the football, a throwback. When's the last time you saw a football team run the ball 70% of the time? You'd have to go back to this stadium about 15 years ago.
Yeah, back to 1978 when Tom Wilkinson was the quarterback of the Edmonton Eskimos, and he had two great running backs, Jim Germany and another guy by the name of Neil Lumsden.
They're not bad, and neither are the backs that Alberta has now. They rely heavily upon Jay Hamilton, a Canada West All-Star last year. And these are the numbers he put up against the first meeting against Calgary, 111 yards rushing, as Alberta pounded it on the ground.
And the other thing that's going for Jay Hamilton, he's got a great backfield mate in Darcy Park. He's the great big fullback, 6'1", 240 pounds, and he also had a 100-yard game against Calgary the last time. So Calgary's defense certainly has their hands full today in trying to stop these two guys.
Certainly would appear with a playoff spot in the line that this football game comes down to Calgary's defense stopping the run. The Saskatchewan Huskies ran the ball on them for more than 250 yards last week, and Alberta had over 200 yards rushing in the first meeting between the two.
Calgary have had all sorts of problems this year in stopping the run. Again, last week, Maury Norston, 242 yards. But in the game prior this season when they met the University of Alberta Golden Bears, look at that, 284 yards rushing for Alberta. If Calgary hope to win today, they have to nullify that and put that maybe around 150 yards rushing.
Calgary has won 8 of the last 10 meetings between the two schools, including the Canada West final last year, but Alberta won the meeting earlier this year by 4 points. CIAU football on TSN is brought to you by Geo. Get to know Geo at your Chevrolet Geo dealer. And by Pepsi. Be young, have fun, drink Pepsi. Coming up next, the opening kickoff in the Battle of Alberta. It's Calgary against Alberta next. The Alberta fans are getting set for the second half of the home-and-home series between these two schools, which has a tendency to decide who moves on from Canada West, and he's got his game face on, too. We're at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, not normally the home venue for the Alberta Golden Bears, but the site of this afternoon's big game between these two, which will decide the second playoff spot in Canada West. Head coach Tom Wilkinson, who used to play here, told us about bringing his team to Commonwealth.
I don't know. I'm not real sure I would rather be at Commonwealth Stadium. It just so happened that because of weather and everything this year, Parks and Rec has declared Clark Stadium unplayable. That is our home field. I don't know what kind of effect this will have, and I'm not looking at it anything to do as when I was a player, because that's not me, and it's the players, and I think that they might really enjoy playing in it. I certainly hope so, because our other option was taken away.
The last time the Alberta Golden Bears played in this stadium was in 1988 against Calgary. It was September 29th of 1988, a night better remembered by Canadian sports fans as the night Ben Johnson ran in the Seoul Olympics. And in fact, they put the race on the scoreboard here at Commonwealth Stadium, stopped the game and showed it to the delight of the crowd. Of course, they were disappointed a few days later, but that was the last time Alberta played here. They did play a couple of playoff games here in the early 1980s. In fact, Jamie, you coached in those games as the Western Ontario Mustangs came here and played the Golden Bears in the national semifinal.
Well, we came here in 1980 and we lost to Alberta 14-4, and then the next year, 1981, Alberta had another strong club that year again, and they beat us 32-31 with a last-second field goal to beat us. So Commonwealth Stadium's actually been very kind to the Alberta Golden Bears.
There's Dennis Hollowaychuk, who's an assistant coach for the Calgary Dinosaurs, a former Alberta Golden Bear. So he faces his former team. Peter Cannellan, the head coach of the Calgary Dinosaurs, likes to come upstairs and coach the game from the press box. He likes the view better up there. The Calgary Dinosaurs will kick it off to the Alberta Golden Bears in their home green and gold, the same as the other team that plays here. And now here's our national anthem. Simple. The Alberta Golden Bears defeated Calgary earlier this season 29-25. If Alberta wins this afternoon, it's into the playoffs no matter what. However, Calgary must win this game by 5 or more to guarantee a playoff spot. A win by 4 or less, and it'll come down to the final weekend of the season, and points for and against will be a factor.
And we talked to Tom Wilkinson about this game, and he was saying he was a bit nervous that his team would not be focused coming into this game because of the distraction, one, of coming into Commonwealth Stadium, and the other one of being on national television. He says he just hopes his team has their heads screwed on right for this game, because this is the biggest one of their season.
Bruce Parsons will kick it off. Mark Bennett and Simon Buffo are back deep to receive. And the kickoff is a short one. It lands at about the 20-yard line, spins back, and this is Buffo. Breaks away from the initial wave, gets out to about the 27-yard line, which is where the Alberta Golden Bears will begin their first offensive possession. A team that has thrown only one touchdown pass all season long, but Sean Zachowski, the quarterback, is one of the best running quarterbacks in the CIAU. His numbers passing, 726 yards, 1 touchdown, 5 interceptions. He is the top rushing quarterback, though, in Canada West. He averages 7 yards a carry when he runs the ball.
And a bit of a concern for Tom Wilkinson, because he said if we get into a football game in which we're trailing, we really don't know if we can throw the ball effectively.
Park and Hamilton are in the backfield. And too much time putting the play into motion as the handoff to Jay Hamilton is whistled dead. Our referee today is Terry Connolly.
Go, guys. Come on now.
No time count violation against Alberta. Sean Zachowski. He was a little bit late coming in off the bench, so he was getting final instructions from the coaching staff on the sidelines and didn't get into the huddle in time.
Brings up a 1st and 15, Alberta, from its own 23-yard line. Darcy Park, number 6, is the fullback, with Jay Hamilton, the tailback. And they give to Hamilton. Right up the middle, he pulls his way across the 25 up to about the 28-yard line, a gain of 5 yards for Hamilton. And these are the men up front that block for him. A big offensive line for Alberta that has allowed only 8 quarterback sacks, but primarily run blocks. And size is a factor here, as well as experience. Riley Spears, a 4th-year player, and Patrick Nord, a 3rd-year player. Zachowski is the quarterback with Hamilton and Park.
And the wide receivers, you can call them the Maytag repairmen. Seldom used, but D'Souza is the big receiver for them with 21 receptions.
Gain was 5, 2nd and 10, Alberta from its 28-yard line, and Zachowski is back to throw. Swings it up to the backfield to Hamilton. He's got a long way to go, and he will not get there. Stacked up by a host of Calgary Dinosaurs. Mike Nightingale up to make the stop, along with James Anderson. He stops Hamilton well short of the 1st down.
And we talked about how the wide receivers in the slots are not used very often. Jay Hamilton and Darcy Park, the 2 backs. This time it's Hamilton getting the little flare from the quarterback, Sean Zachowski. But Hamilton is the 2nd, and Darcy Park is the 3rd leading receiver in this football team, so Zachowski likes to throw to his backs.
Scott McKenzie, the top punter in Canada West, back at his own 15-yard line. Back deep to receive, Kevin Klein and Don Blair. Not much of a rush, and McKenzie gets a high, deep kick away. This is Klein from his 35. Gets the block, a flag is down, and Klein is dropped at the 53-yard line. And this return will be coming back due to an illegal block as the Calgary Dinosaur offense gets set to take the field, and Terry Connolly will sort it out and bring the Calgary Dinosaurs back. 44-yard punt for Scott McKenzie, who comes into the game averaging 40.8 yards.
See, Klein does a nice job here, just getting around the corner now, takes it straight up the field. Tough to see actually where the holding took place.
And now Jason Aston, who has taken every snap at cornerback for the Dinosaurs this season. That was his 1st game of the season against Alberta. Intercepted twice, no touchdown passes. So they toss it out to Chris Lewis, and Lewis is nailed where he stood. Solid defensive play made by linebacker Kevin Algar with help from defensive back Sean Cotry. And Algar, the leading tackler for the Golden Bears, a Canada West All-Star last year, makes a big play early.
And you can see the kind of play that Algar makes on Lewis. He forces Lewis to turn his shoulders again outside. Lewis loses his momentum of going up the field. And also Ian Hiltz comes in, and Kevin Kotick with the tackle.
No gain, 2nd and 10 Calgary from its own 36-yard line. And Aston backs the pass quickly out to the flat. Has a man, Don Blair, and Blair close to a 1st down and more as he's finally brought down at midfield. The tackle made there by defensive back Sean Tate, but not before the 2nd leading receiver in Canada West makes a big catch for the Dinosaurs.
This is a smart read by Jason Aston because they go trips to one side. Don Blair's the inside receiver, but Alberta's secondary don't rotate over to it, and Don Blair is wide open.
Blair leads the team with 6 touchdown receptions this year and leads the CIAU with 789 yards receiving. 1st down Calgary from midfield. Back to the ground they go, and not much going for Chris Lewis. Calgary's offensive line is anchored by a couple of gigantic tackles. Mark Verlan is 6'7", Ben Fairbrother 6'5". They're taller than the tackles for the Calgary Stampeders. In the offensive backfield is Aston with Sean Latter. The fullback is Gene Stahl. Chris Lewis is the other tailback who will see a lot of action.
And the receivers, Kevin Klein and John Field are the wideouts. Ryan Carruthers at slot, and the big slot back, Don Blair, of course, the leading receiver in this team with 37 receptions.
Gain was 3, 2nd and 7 Calgary into Alberta territory at the 52-yard line. And Aston back quickly to throw to Klein, and Klein dropped the ball. He was working on Mike Hogan, the corner, and he just dropped the football.
You know, once again, though, it was a very good read by Jason Aston because he has one-on-one coverage in the backside with Mike Hogan, and Hogan has a big cushion on him. You can see the separation. Klein catches that, he turns up, gets over the stripe. It's a 1st down.
Bruce Parsons is in to punt for the Calgary Dinosaurs. Back deep to receive Ian Hiltz and Manuel de Sosa. Parsons gets a low tumbling kick away. This is Ian Hiltz letting it roll around at about the 14-yard line, and he didn't get very far away from the initial wave, but he was stopped up by Cameron White, who got down quickly for the Calgary Dinosaurs. Here's how the Dinosaurs line up defensively. Trent Schmulin, a Canada West All-Star last year, leads the defensive line with 3 sacks. The linebacking core has only one returnee from last year's Vanier Cup team. That is Mike Nightingale, who leads the team with 34 tackles.
And the defensive secondary is led by the All-Canadian Colin Newman, Dan Jeremiah, Phil Schnell at safety, Greg Heisel, and Rob Kidd at corner.
Back to the ground goes Alberta, and here comes Jay Hamilton for a first down and more out across the 30 to the 34-yard line. The tackle finally made by the safety, Phil Schnell, but not before a gain of 18 yards by the Alberta tailback.
Let's take a look to the left of your screen. A good reach block by the tackle. Everson, number 76, then a good kickoff block, and Hamilton runs it right up the middle. Excellent play by University of Alberta, and you can see the kind of explosive power that Jay Hamilton possesses.
Hamilton averages 7.5 yards a carry to lead the CIAU. First down Alberta on its own 33-yard line. Now the give to the fullback Park. And the 240-some pounder bowls his way ahead for maybe a yard. The tackle was made on the play by Mike Nightingale.
Well, I asked Tom Wilkinson yesterday, I said, Darcy Park, your big fullback, 240 pounds, and he stopped me and he said, actually, I think he's a little bit heavier than 240. He might be about 250 pounds.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7 now, Alberta. Golden Bears at their own 37-yard line. Into a pretty nice day here in Edmonton. High winds yesterday gusting up to 100 kilometers an hour. Threats of a snowstorm, but it's cleared off today. And it's a beautiful opportunity here. Kowski nailed in the backfield. Couldn't find his receiver initially and didn't get far. He's sacked by Greg Hayes, who came up on the halfback blitz. So Hayes, the second-year player, comes up as Calgary throws the blitz at Alberta.
Well, they like to run a little bit of fake sprint draw here, but nobody has Hayes. He's the halfback on that side, and he comes free. Now, I think what's supposed to happen is when he fakes it to Hamilton, Hamilton's supposed to look outside in case they bring that halfback.
Back to punt, Scott McKenzie, his second of the day. The first traveled 44 yards. Not quite as far, bouncing back, Klein lets it roll. Finally, Blair picks it up at the 50, flags are down, not only no yards, and Blair got away from the first tackler and crosses midfield into Alberta territory at about the 49-yard line, and you can tack on some no yards at the end of that. Now, the bounce back rule, that should only be a 5-yard penalty.
See, they throw it anyway if you encroach upon that 5 yards. If you're trying to get out, they'll wave it off.
Hit the switch.
The no yards flag is waved. The ball bounce back. Players do not participate.
It's a good call by the official.
Setting the Alberta defense for you now. The leader of it is Steve Dallison, a Canada West All-Star last year, who played for the Calgary Colts back in 1989 when they won the Canadian Junior Football Championship. Algar is the leading tackler for the team, a second-team All-Canadian last year, leading the linebacking corps.
And the defensive backfield led by Ian Hiltz, number 13. He's an all-conference defensive back in Canada West.
Blair in motion. On first down, they give the lead back, and it is the fullback bashing his way through, Gene Stahl. And Stahl's down to about the 41-yard line. Call it a gain of 8.
You know, we talked at the beginning of the telecast, Gord, about how Calgary in the past has really been tailback you and some of the great tailbacks that they've had here. The fullback very seldom used. Last year was Dave Evans. This year Gene Stahl steps in, and that was only his 20th carry of the season. But they really haven't got the kind of production out of the tailback Sean Latter that they had a year ago, and it's really affected their offense.
Game was 8, 2nd and 2 Calgary from the Alberta 41-yard line. And the toss to the tailback, Chris Lewis, gets his way outside, has a first down, still going, all the way down to the Alberta 30-yard line, a gain of 11 yards and a first down Calgary. Well, Chris Lewis first on the scene last year right out of high school and has made quite an impression for the Calgary Dinosaurs.
This is a great move right here because Hiltz comes up, misses the tackle. Chris Lewis does a nice job of getting up the field.
As a freshman last year, he scored touchdowns in the Canada West Final, the Atlantic Bowl, and the Vanier Cup game. A year earlier, he'd been playing high school football at Calgary. So Calgary may yet become tailback U again. 1st and 10 Dinosaurs from the Alberta 30. Aston slips, throws out to the flat, has a man. Incomplete. They say John Field trapped the football.
John Field kind of arguing with the official, saying, no, he caught it clean. And 3-step drop by the quarterback. Aston stumbles a little bit coming out from under center, but he's going to Field all the way. Good call by the official. You can see it bounced up.
Now remember, this is a Calgary offense that lost outstanding receivers in Mike Frieder and James Buchanan. Both of them were all-stars. So it's up to Kevin Klein and John Field to replace them. They've done a pretty decent job. 2nd and 10 Dinosaurs from the Alberta 30. 7:45 to play in the opening quarter. Fake draw. Here's Aston going over the top, looking for Carruthers, and too far for his slot back, Ryan Carruthers. So Aston going for the end zone comes up empty, and the Calgary kicking unit comes onto the field.
Well, Jason Aston was looking at Ryan Carruthers all the way. Man coverage. Alberta were coming on the blitz. They fake it. And Sean Cottrey in coverage there. Actually, Ryan Carruthers looks more like a tight end. He's 6'1", close to 220 pounds. Like to have his blocking ability as Bruce Parsons gets ready for the field goal attempt.
Last time we saw him was the Vanier Cup game last year when his potential game-tying field goal was blocked, giving Toronto the Vanier Cup win. This attempt from the 37-yard line. It's a low kick, and it is wide to the left. Here's Ian Hiltz, and Hiltz is going to bring it out and steps out of bounds at the 5. So Alberta elects not to give up the signal and will have horrible field position when we return at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton.
Because Ian Hiltz back here, once you get the ball, you've got to make up your mind, I'm coming out or I'm giving it up. He hesitates a little bit, and that costs him some yardage. You can see Chris Lewis comes down there, and then he steps out of bounds right there at the 5-yard line. But they get the ball on the 20.
There's a penalty assessed at the end of that play to Calgary for a late hit out of bounds. So Tom Wilkinson's Alberta Golden Bears get a break. And former Edmonton Eskimo Marco Sincar standing next to him, one of his assistant coaches.
And that wasn't coffee he was drinking.
No, that's going the other way. Dejkowski with the fake throws out to the flat, has Darcy Park, the fullback, for a gain of 5. Park is finally ridden out of bounds on the play by defensive back Dan Jeremiah. But the big fullback, who is a load out there, gets 5.
Now here's the late hit. He's out of bounds here. The whistle is being blown. You can see the official, and there it is right there. Kind of a cheap call, really, because, you know, the defender is thinking he's still in bounds, but maybe the official saw the helmet as the initial point of contact and decided to throw the flag.
Golden Bears with a gain of 6. It's now 2nd and 4 from their own 26-yard line. They've yet to get out of their own territory in this football game. Here's Jay Hamilton on the carry. Oh, did he get stood up by the middle linebacker, James Anderson. Anderson stepped right into him and stopped him short of the first down.
And what a great size for an inside linebacker. 6'2", 240 pounds, James Anderson. It was a nice job of reading this during that 43 exchange. Look, Anderson's the middle linebacker. And Hamilton cuts right back, right into that shot of Anderson.
43 exchange? What might that be?
Actually, 4 down linemen, and they take the 3 linebackers, and they stick them in the gaps between the end and the tackle, between the 2 tackles, and then between the end and the other tackle. It's very susceptible to the outside run, that style of defense.
Scott McKenzie has been the busiest Alberta Golden Bear today. This will be his 3rd punt of the football game, and there's still 5:45 to play in the opening quarter. High, towering kick. And this is Klein from the 45. Tripped up right away. Good defensive play by Alberta's number 51, Rod Woitas, a backup linebacker who hustled downfield to make the tackle. But Calgary has really had the edge in field position so far in the game.
That really has been the story so far. Field position has really been everything. You see the Calgary coaching staff.
And Peter Cadellan is seated on the left. You can just see him to the left of the pillar with the headset on. So 2 coaches in the press box.
Very unusual. You don't see that very often in any level of football where the head coaches are up top. Usually they're off the sidelines.
Wilkie says it's because he can't walk that far. He doesn't like the pace. Here's the give to Lewis, and one good defensive play deserves another. And stepping into his man was defensive tackle Steve Dallison, who just rocked Lewis before he could get out of the backfield.
Well, Steve Dallison has the initial hit, but watch Peter White, the all-conference linebacker. Boom, right there. That is a perfect form tackle. Hits him, gets his hips through, and drives his legs.
They'll spot it as a gain of 1, make it 2nd and 9 Calgary from its own 53-yard line. Still no score in the Alberta-Calgary battle. Asset back to throw. Over the middle has a man wide open. It's Blair, and Blair diving for the first down, and they'll spot him close as he gets down to the Alberta 48-yard line, which is where he needed to be for the first down. Sean Cotry, the defensive back there for the cover.
Well, this is a guy, Don Blair, that Alberta's defense is really going to have to pay attention to quite a bit today because he is the favorite receiver for Jason Assen. Again, crossing underneath. Assen does a nice job of waiting until he crosses the formation. Good job by Don Blair to know exactly where he was and how many yards he needed. Cross formation, catches the ball in his hands, tucks it away.
Oh, a little Walter Payton.
A bit of a fancy move there. We saw him last year in the Vanier Cup, put the hand behind the helmet and kind of kick out as he went into the end zone, so he's got those moves.
They give to the fullback, Gene Stahl, and Stahl gets across the 45 to the Alberta 44-yard line, we'll call it. Gain of 3.
Now, what I'm a bit surprised of when I see Calgary's offense, they were primarily the years they had some of the tailbacks like J.P. Escuerdo and people like that, a counter trap team where they start motion one way and they come back and they pull guard and tackle. We have yet to see that this afternoon with either Sean Latter in the backfield or Chris Lewis.
And the gain was 2 for the fullback, Gene Stahl. Early movement, there are no flags. Assen's going over the top again for Blair, and the pass is beyond his reach. Good coverage there for Alberta by Ian Hilt. Second time Jason Assen has tried to take Alberta deep, and both attempts have been unsuccessful.
And you know, this is really the rush that gets to Jason Assen right now. He gets his feet set, but look how close people are to him. Coming in, he can't really step up. He has to throw it a little bit sooner than he wants to.
That was the noseman Barkley Spady getting in his face. Bruce Parsons will punt from just about midfield. And Alberta's wondering what the other side of the field looks like. And Parsons is aiming to get this out of bounds, which he does. Great kick as he bounces it right to the sideline, and it goes out of bounds at the 13-yard line. And again, Alberta will be hemmed deep in its own territory. No score in the Battle of Alberta. And Bears eat dinosaurs. Been changed somewhat. Last night, 11 members of the crew that are working today were at the CFL game in Calgary. They grabbed a bus, got in about 4 in the morning, came to the stadium today at 6:30 to set up the equipment. Great job, fellas, and have a nice sleep tonight. First and 10 Alberta from its own 13-yard line. Back to the ground. This is the fullback Park. Park gets outside, but has his legs cut out from underneath him on a nice defensive play made by Calgary defensive back Dan Jeremiah.
You know, it's so critical for Calgary not to allow a guy like Darcy Park to get his shoulders turned up the field. Again, they lead with Jay Hamilton. He's trying to go out to the secondary. Doesn't get a great block in Dan Jeremiah, and Jeremiah submerges Park. But they're not allowing Park to turn his shoulders up the field and get his momentum working up the field. That's a great play by Dan Jeremiah.
The fourth of the Jeremiah brothers to play CIAU football. His brothers Vilio and Bruno played at Calgary. His brother Mass played at BC. Gain of a couple on 2nd and 8. They fake to Hamilton. Ditchkowski going to the sidelines, and the pass falls incomplete. A nice throw, but Gary Leung couldn't haul it down. Leung, a starting wide receiver in every game this year, has only 5 catches. The other wide receiver, Mark Bennett, has 4.
Well, he's probably surprised to see the football coming his way. Good protection by the offensive line allows Ditchkowski to get outside, and he puts the ball right in the money. Those are catches you have to have. You see Colin Newman on the coverage. But you got to squeeze these ones.
And so now, from his own goal line, Alberta punter Scott McKenzie, and Calgary slowly and methodically moving towards the Alberta end zone on the exchange of punts. This is a great kick by McKenzie. A booming punt to Klein at his own 48-yard line. Well covered by Alberta. He fights his way across midfield to the 53-yard line. Calgary will have the football when we return. There's no score at Commonwealth Stadium. Enjoying most of the day in Alberta territory, but Alberta punter Scott McKenzie has boomed a couple here to get Alberta out of trouble.
If it wasn't for Scott McKenzie, Calgary would be in scoring position almost every time they get the football because they've been backed up in their own end, and McKenzie's gotten them out of trouble a few times this afternoon.
As it is, it's 1st and 10 Calgary from the Alberta 54-yard line. The toss to the tailback, Lewis, who's got a seaman going. And he's got one man to beat. Hiltz dives for him. He won't get him. Chris Lewis, touchdown, 54 yards. And just like that, the Calgary Dinosaurs are on the board. Chris Lewis, in his second year, who started late in the season for Calgary, scores the game's first touchdown.
At the bottom of your screen, we're talking about Ryan Carruthers being almost like a tight end. He makes a great block inside, and that springs Chris Lewis around the corner. And now it's a foot race, and Ian Hiltz isn't going to catch Chris Lewis as he gets into the end zone. But a super block by Ryan Carruthers. If we talk that he's bigger than normal for a slot back, lines up more like a tight end, and boy, did he destroy Dave Noonan.
Second rushing touchdown of the season for Chris Lewis, and his longest run of the season. It gives Calgary a 6-0 lead, and here's Parsons with the point after. It's good, and the Dinosaurs have a 7-0 lead against the Alberta Golden Bears in a game Calgary must win by 5 or more to clinch a playoff spot.
Again, they lead with the big fullback, Gene Stahl, but number 36, Ryan Carruthers, makes a great block inside, and that springs Lewis. Now Lewis, when he gets his shoulders up the field, he can just turn on the jets and go into the end zone as he outruns Ian Hiltz. But so vitally important to get that initial block at the perimeter. Once you get that, you can get your lineman around, you can get your lead back, he can get in there and give you some help.
Well, the Alberta Golden Bears, who have spent most of this day inside their own 25-yard line, now trail 7-0, and running teams can often have difficulty coming from behind. And Parsons now to kick it off. Back deep to receive, Simon Buffo and Mark Bennett. Parsons kickoff. Taken deep by Buffo at the 14-yard line. And spun around, still on his feet. Buffo gets his way up to the 36-yard line before he's finally brought down. Great job on the kickoff return as it looks as if he can stop for a gain of about 5 yards.
You see how fast Calgary are running down there trying to cover the kick, and Simon Buffo makes a great spin move.
Tackle. The 52-yard kickoff, 23 yards on the third. Here's scrimmage 1st and 10.
1st and 10 Alberta from the 36-yard line. The Golden Bears have yet to cross midfield and trail this game 7-0. They fake to Hamilton, and here's Zikowski on the keeper. Around the end, he's got the first down and more. Sean Zikowski could go all the way. And Alberta strikes right back on its first play from scrimmage. 74 yards for the touchdown. The best running quarterback in Canada West has scored Alberta's first touchdown.
Now, Gordon, what makes this play work, they pull both guards here to make it look like it's sweep. They bring the back over here. They get a great seal-off block by McIntyre, and then the quarterback's coming out naked. If we can just run that.
Naked.
They really sell the run play. Look at all the flow go to the left, and now Zikowski goes around, and this guy's got great running ability. Comes into this game with a 7-point-yard rushing average. Possesses great speed.
The point after is good. It's the 7th rushing touchdown of the season for Sean Zikowski, who has thrown only one touchdown pass as a quarterback. And naked or not, that was a heck of a run.
I mean, they gave all sorts of false keys to Calgary, and that's just a super job by Zikowski. You see, when he turns the corner here, everybody seems to have the angle. But boy, he just turns on the jets.
And he beat a cornerback to the corner. He beat Pat Hardy to the outside. How often do you see quarterbacks with that kind of acceleration?
Let's go, lad.
So 2 plays, 2 touchdowns in the football game, and Calgary and Alberta are back to even. And that'll be Scott McKenzie's turn to kick it off, and this may result in Calgary's worst field position of the day. The Dinosaurs have started almost every drive near midfield.
Let's go, boys. Let's go, guys. Let's go.
And it's a reverse. They give it to Don Blair on the reverse on the kickoff return. He's got the kicker to beat. He's around the corner, still going, reversing his field into Alberta territory at the 48-yard line. So Calgary comes right back, and with the reverse, gets Don Blair into Alberta territory at about the 49-yard line.
This is a well-executed play. Again, they hand off to Don Blair. Now, Mike Cantillon is contained on the backside. You can see right there, number 10. He turns Blair inside, but now it's a foot race. Blair showing great control of his feet, cutting back inside.
And a great job on the handoff by Sean Latter.
Nice job by Don Blair. He really possesses tremendous feet, very quick feet. Control, gets a nice little feint to the shoulder to the kicker.
A 41-yard return. And Field can't squeeze it. Are they calling that Alberta football? They may rule this a catch and a fumble, but I think they should rule this incomplete. There's a man down for Alberta, and indeed the pass does fall incomplete as John Field got rocked at the end of that catch.
Well, he has to have control when he comes down to the field, and that's what the official ruled, that he did not have control. But boy, he was rocked. It looks like Mike Cantillon, the number 10, the left corner.
Tied for the league lead with 4 interceptions.
And he's supposed to be the fastest player on this University of Alberta defense.
And receiving attention as he went down hard on that hit on John Field.
And he's one of the few players that is from out of province on this team, from Kingston, Ontario, attended Loyalist College. But look at the head snap, Don Blair. And Jason Aston looking to his favorite receiver once again. Turns down the field, turns back, and hooks, goes up to protect the football. But look at the shot received there. Good call by the official. Did not have control of it when he came down. But unfortunately, it looks like Mike Cantillon got the worst of it.
And Cantillon, who shaved his head for today's game.
Just so his mom and dad could look at him back in Kingston, Ontario, and be very proud of their son with his shaved head.
Well, he's off and running and reaching for the telephone, which he hears ringing every now and then. Chris Lewis on the first play from scrimmage for Calgary after a punt goes 54 yards for the touchdown after the ensuing kickoff. Sean Zajkowski goes 74 yards the other way, and this game even at 7 with 10 seconds to play in the opening quarter. Here's Aston back to throw again, faking under pressure, and he's running for his life. He just threw that away as Randy Russ, the defensive end, was getting in his face, and Jason Aston just threw that ball to an open area. That's the final play of the opening quarter. Calgary and Alberta in a slugfest, tied at 7. Last punt by Bruce Parsons traveled 25 yards, so the Alberta Golden Bears will open the second quarter with a 1st and 10 at their own 24-yard line. And the Golden Bears, who have been known this season for putting together long scoring marches, have been unable to put much of a scoring march together, save for the 74-yard touchdown run by Sean Zajkowski.
And you know, that last running play does all sorts of things to that Calgary defense. It really is going to make them be concerned about contain, and it should allow the inside running game to open up a little bit.
Here's Jay Hamilton, the tailback, and flags are down. So is Hamilton as he got to about the 30-yard line.
There's first and 10 from the 24-yard line. Jay Hamilton.
And this will come back. Holding is the call against Alberta.
It's been absolutely incredible, the horrible field position that Alberta has had throughout this football game. They've been really in the shadow of their own goal line most of the first quarter.
Holding. Holding, Alberta 64. First down repeated.
Call is against Adam Cassidy, the right guard.
Bears line 20 yards.
This is a team that likes to run right. Adam Cassidy, the right guard, number 64. Well, I'll tell you what, I can't see it in there. I don't know what the official's looking at, but I certainly didn't see it.
Now 1st and 20 Alberta. The Golden Bears back up to their own 14-yard line. And Darcy Park, the fullback's got some room to rumble, which he does. He gets out across the 25. We'll call that a gain of about 13 yards.
And that's a great call to come back because Adam Cassidy is going to be the trapping guard. See to the right of your screen, the center goes away. They trap, they bring the tackle down the linebacker, and what a great hole.
And a nice run by Darcy Park, who spent 2 years at New Mexico Military Academy. That sounds like a place your dad threatened to send you when you were a kid. Like, I'll tell you what, if you break that bike one more time, you're going to the New Mexico Military Academy. Something tells me that they serve something like cold gruel in the faculty club or something. James Anderson, the injured Calgary Dinosaur, first-year player, a linebacker who has 1 interception this season. And again, Calgary had to completely retool its linebacking core that took it to the Vanier Cup last year. And James Anderson, one of the players the Dinosaurs counting upon to fill the void at middle linebacker.
You're going to see how they run trap here. They're going to take the center away. They're going to bring the guard here, trap, pull this guard, and then he's going to come down here in the linebacker. This is Anderson. This is where they get hurt. And they're going to run the ball right up and through here. This is executed beautifully, and you can see Anderson comes down, the tackle gets him, boom, and Anderson doesn't see him coming. He's stepping up hard to make that play when he sees the guard go away, but the tackle comes down and gives him a great shot.
Game was 12 at 2nd and 8. The fake, and now Zachkowski rolling out on the run, and over the head of the intended receiver, Manuel De Sousa, who has not yet caught a pass in this football game. He came into this game as Alberta's leading receiver with 21 catches, more than all the other starting receivers combined. The stats through the opening 15 minutes, Alberta, as you might expect, already 106 rushing yards, only 8 through the air. Remember that 74 of those rushing yards came on one play. 54 of Calgary's 79 rushing yards came on one play.
But that still has to be a concern for Peter Cannell on 100 yards rushing in the first quarter. I mean, that would translate into over 400 yards rushing in this game if they keep it up.
What a punt by Scott McKenzie.
Come on,
With a towering kick, and it's dropped by Klein, who finally picks it up and is now up and running. Dropped at the 40-yard line. A return of 3. And a 52-yard punt by McKenzie. Well, McKenzie's had pro tryouts with Edmonton and Calgary, and when you see punts like that, you know why.
Just a beautiful punt, and the thing that's so nice about it is how high it is. Just way up in the air allows this coverage team to come down and do a good job of covering the punt.
So
the Dinosaurs now with terrible field position, thanks to Scott McKenzie, they're only at their own 40. This is a long field for them. Here's Sean Latter on the carry, and he is stacked up right away. Jumping into the backfield was linebacker Sean Newton, and there was simply nowhere for Sean Latter to go.
And, you know, the last few years that we've seen the Alberta Golden Bears in action, their defense has usually been the real strength of this football team. They've always played very well. They've struggled a little bit on offense, but now that Wilkinson's got his offense going and they can establish some type of a running game, they control the football, they keep these guys off the field, they're much fresher when they get on the field, and therefore they can be much more physical.
Gain was 1, 2nd and 9 Calgary now from the Dinosaur 41-yard line. And that's it back to throw. The receiver screen to Blair, who's beaten the first man, now has to get away from another, and is stopped up just short. And Kevin Elgard, a number of others came up to make the stop, but give credit there to the Alberta defensive backs for stopping him up short before he could get going.
You know what, I've yet to see the first tackler tackle Don Blair, but, you know, this is very dangerous what he's doing with the football right here. You know what, you can get away with that a few times, but you watch throughout this football game, one time possibly today, he'll get that knocked away. Got to tuck the football away. It comes down to fundamentals sometimes. Bruce Parson gets ready to punt it away once again. Scott McKenzie, of course, winning this punting duel this afternoon.
Mark Bennett back deep to receive along with Ian Hiltz. This is Bennett from the 20. And driven out of bounds to the 32-yard line. A return of 11 yards. 7-7 is the score between the Dinosaurs and the Bears. We'll return to second quarter action at Commonwealth Stadium in a moment.
We got a hold of the Geo tracker and decided to use it to get to know Geo's roadside assistance.
So Scott locked the keys in the car intentionally for a change. What are you trying to say? Kelly phoned them, and I started the stopwatch. Yeah, nice shoes, Zebra boy.
And we waited.
But you know what? Not for long, because 27 minutes and 35 seconds later, they showed up.
Mark from Roadside Assistance.
No big deal, really. What do you mean? Look at you, no big deal. Just another day at the office for Mark, though. Under 28 minutes.
They should deliver pizzas.
Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. CIAU football action between the Calgary Dinosaurs and the Alberta Golden Bears. A playoff spot in Canada West is on the line between the two teams that met in the Canada West final last year, with the Calgary Dinosaurs defeating Alberta and advancing to the Vanier Cup game before losing to the eventual champion, Toronto Varsity Blues. First and 10, Alberta from its own 33. Flags are down. Zajkowski has a man. Manuel de Sousa, this is coming back. De Sousa may go in to score, but holding is going to be the call against Alberta. And it was clearly a holding call to prevent the Calgary defender from getting to the quarterback, Zajkowski. And you see the indication from referee Terry Connolly. Manuel de Sousa just ran a long way for nothing. And there's another penalty on the play. It looks like unnecessary roughness against the Calgary Dinosaurs.
And was 79 yards.
And so Terry Connolly will have to sort this out, but the end result is that Manuel de Sousa's trip to the end zone went for naught.
What's going to happen is Alberta will end up gaining 5 yards out of this, because they'll take it right back to the last scrimmage of the football and assess the penalty from there.
Holding, number 68, Alberta. Unnecessary roughness, Calgary, after the play. Number 63. First down, Alberta.
Holding is the call against Riley Spears. Unnecessary roughness is the call against Craig Simpson. And watch the left side of your screen. I think you'll see the illegal block.
Again, bootlegging a very good job outside by number 52, Troy Eddington, Rob Richards, to contain it. Here's a second penalty. You can see number 63 comes in and just drills an offensive lineman for Alberta.
So it's first and 10, Golden Bears, the end result from the Alberta 36-yard line. Zajkowski trying to throw it through a forest of trees, and it's over the head of his intended target. Again, it's Manuel de Sousa. Didn't play football in 91 or 92. Came back, and this year has 21 catches, does not yet have a touchdown reception. Thought he had one a moment ago. Alberta throwing the ball much more than it has in recent games. That surprise you?
Yeah, really quite unusual given the running backs and the success that they've had with it. But you can see what Calgary are doing right now. They're really concerned about outside run and trying to contain Zajkowski. Therefore, that's why I think the inside run game is really there for the taking right now.
Second and 10, Alberta from its own 36-yard line. Three receivers to the far side of the field. It's a drop play to Hamilton. Jay Hamilton, first down and more in the Calgary territory, all the way down to the 46-yard line.
The right tackle, he's going to come along here, and they're going to run the long trap right in here. They give the ball to Hamilton. We can run that. That's the right tackle. That's Riley Spears. You see he gets out there, bang, and now Hamilton follows him, and this is just a great run by the tailback. As soon as he gets around the corner, gets his shoulders up the field. Dynamite call at second down and 9.
Now first and 10, Alberta from the Calgary 46. Flags are down. There was early movement. Zajkowski over the middle. And the receiver, Gary Leung, short-armed that ball as he felt the pressure coming from the Calgary defensive back.
It looks like his hands were attached to his shoulders when he was going for that one.
He crocodiled that ball. He had crocodile arms on that one.
No. You got to get into that mindset when you're going across the middle that you're going to get crunched, and you got to live with the consequences.
Calgary, number 60 offside, first down repeater.
Chris Zaharko is called offside for Calgary. And check this out. Look at the crocodile arms here.
Actually, it wasn't so much crocodile arms as more of his head. He was taking a look at Phil Schnell, the safety, coming across the Rackham.
Here's Darcy Park, the fullback, into the Calgary defensive backfield. Flags are down. Park still going, and it's a touchdown. Now, is Alberta going to have a second touchdown called back? There is a flag. And it's coming back. Holding against Alberta nullifies a second penalty call, and Alberta coach Tom Wilkinson is going crazy in the press box. Wilkinson, you see, leaning there without the headset.
First down repeated.
Terry Connolly makes the call, and it's a second touchdown on this drive that Alberta has brought back, and it brings the Golden Bears back to the Calgary 51.
And, you know, once again, they're running that inside trap look here. This is just a great job again. The tackle Spears comes down on James Anderson. I mean, they're making this look real easy right here. This is the dynamite run. All sorts of people have chances at Darcy Park, but nevertheless, Alberta have really been their own worst enemies with the two touchdowns called back because of holding penalties.
They fake to Park this time. They out to the flat to Jay Hamilton. Hamilton has a gain of 6 up to the 45-yard line. Now there's another flag down. That may be a late hit because Hamilton was hit when he was on the ground. And it is roughness against the Calgary Dinosaurs. So that will give Alberta a first down. Costly penalties here.
Unnecessary roughness. 42 Calgary.
Jay Hamilton just leaks out in the backfield, and Sejkowski's going to him right away. Now, I'm kind of surprised that he stops here, but I guess he's just trying to turn and get up the field. Usually you like your back to catch the ball, then knife up the field.
And you saw Mike Nightingale come in at the end of that play, and he was the player called for unnecessary roughness. You'll see him coming right about there. So at the first down, Alberta at the Calgary 30-yard line. Alberta's best field position of the game so far. And the give is to Park, and they collar him by the jersey after a gain of maybe a couple. Going back to that touchdown run that was called back, Darcy Park can rumble for a guy who goes 250 pounds.
No, he can really motor. I mean, you see a guy that, plus the ability to keep people off of his legs, that's what was impressive. But now they tried to run trap the last time. You know, you see it a few times. Your defense starts to fire hard into the gaps, and the linebacker steps up, makes it much more difficult to run the play. But if you're running the trap successfully, and they try to stop it, things start to open up outside.
Three receivers to the near side. They fake the draw to Hamilton. Sejkowski's going to the end zone. He has a man. Touchdown! Flags are down, but that'll be pass interference. Manuel De Sousa with his first receiving touchdown of the year. And I'll tell you what, for a team that doesn't throw the ball much, Sean Sejkowski's got an arm.
Sean Sejkowski has really been very impressive this afternoon. Pass interference against Calgary, of course, will be declined.
What a throw by Sean Sejkowski. Rolling away from his arm, he throws it to the end zone, and De Sousa makes a great catch.
And the key here, see how high he throws the ball? He gets air underneath it. The coverage actually isn't that bad. Heinz is right there. But right at the end there, he grabs him right by the face mask.
That's an unbelievable catch when you think that the guy had a hold of his face mask, and he still makes the diving grab. Only the second passing touchdown of the season for the Alberta Golden Bears, and the first to a wide receiver or inside receiver.
Well, you think of it, that's really their fourth touchdown this afternoon. They've had 2 called back.
Manuel De Sousa has given Alberta its first lead. 14-7, the Golden Bears lead the Dinosaurs at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Well, he took a couple of years off from football, but Manuel De Sousa back for Alberta. The leading receiver has his first touchdown reception of the season, and he worked hard to get it.
Well, he had one taken away from him earlier, but this time, make no mistake about it, puts a great move on Greg Heiss. Greg Heiss has no idea where the ball is, reaches out, tries to interfere, gets called for, but nevertheless, Manny De Sousa comes up with a great reception to give Alberta the lead.
That's a big league catch, that is, and a big league throw, too, by the Alberta quarterback, Sean Sejkowski.
And what was so great about the throw is that he put a lot of air underneath it, and he allowed De Sousa to adjust to the football and run underneath it, as opposed to trying to put it on a strike, and if you're off by any amount, then the ball falls incomplete.
Kickoff by McKenzie is taken by Chris Lewis at his own 12-yard line, and here comes Chris Lewis on the return all the way to the Calgary 36-yard line, a return of 25 yards. So we had our first multi-play scoring drive. This was 7 plays, 79 yards, took 3:10 on the clock, and 2 touchdowns called back on that drive. And now the Calgary Dinosaurs trail for the first time today, and you could almost say that Calgary trails by 12 because the Dinosaurs must win the game by 5. If they don't, if they were to win by 4 or less, all kinds of mathematical possibilities come into play at the end of the season. Acid takes the draw. He's going over the top for Blair. Blair dives for it and has it. What a catch by Don Blair. He was well covered by Mike Candelon, but still Blair leaps up to make the catch at the Alberta 33-yard line. a gain of 42 yards.
Don Blair is showing that he is all-Canadian caliber as a slot back. This is just an excellent catch. He waits at the last moment. Look at that. Jumps up and makes a great stab at that football. Just a nice job to take it away from Kevin Kotick, the safety. But that is super control of your body in the air and getting your hands out and catching it. What a player Don Blair has become.
It's been like a heavyweight fight, both teams trading bombs. And now it's Calgary's turn. 1st and 10 from the Alberta 33. Athens under pressure. Throws to the sidelines, and John Field, incomplete, doesn't make the catch. That's the second time Fields made a diving attempt for the football, and they've called it incomplete.
But see, it's real tough for Jason Aston to turn up the field. He's getting some pretty good pressure. Therefore, when he's throwing the ball, he's fading away from the ball, and he can't really get the kind of power on it that he wants. Once again, John Field traps the football. Again, see how he's fading back when he throws? It's tough to get any kind of momentum going forward, and therefore the ball kind of drifts on him and drifts short, falls short.
Now 2nd and 10 Calgary from the Alberta 33-yard line. 7:45 to play in the second quarter. Pass it again, rolling to his right. Lots of time. Has an open man, and he dropped it. Ryan Williams. Wide open, running through the Alberta defense, and hit his shoulder pads and dropped to the ground.
I'm sure Don Blair would have a few things to say. Well-executed bootleg. They pull the backside guard, Ron Meyer. Plenty of time to put the ball right on the money. But see that? He doesn't stab with the football. Doesn't get his hands way out in front. Tries to take the ball off of the shoulder pads. 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what will happen. It'll bounce off.
This will bring up a field goal attempt by Bruce Parsons, who missed his first of the afternoon. This attempt will come from 41 yards out. And back deep to receive again is Ian Hiltz, who elected to bring the last one out of the end zone on the miss. Pass from the hole. Parsons has the distance and just gets it through. So the Calgary Dinosaurs cut the Alberta lead to 4, and there's a flag down on the play. There's a flag down at the line of scrimmage, and it has been a flag-filled contest today.
There's no foul. No foul.
Except that play, because there was no foul. 14-10, Alberta leads Calgary in a battle between a couple of top 10s. Welcome back to CIAU football on TSN, updating scores from out of town. The Western Mustangs ranked #1 in the nation, leading Guelph 14-3. And Laurier leads Windsor in the second quarter 22-3. So both #1 and #2 are off and rolling. #6 Concordia leads Bishops, and that game is in Lennoxville, 8-0. And a big game in the OUAA, McMaster leading Toronto early, 10-0, and defending Vanier Cup champions looking like they're a long shot to make the playoffs. In the AUAA, 12th ranked or 7th ranked St. Mary's leading Mount Allison by a score of 12-1, and there are wild playoff races taking place throughout the CIAU.
Well, what a race in the OUAA. You have 8 teams in that conference. 7 of them were still alive in the last game of the season. But if Guelph loses today and Mac beat Toronto, then Mac's going to get that last playoff spot.
The Alberta Golden Bears lead this game 14-10 in the battle for the second and final playoff spot in Canada West. There's a toss to Jay Hamilton. Alberta goes back to its vaunted ground attack, and Hamilton busts his way for a first down and a gain of 12.
You know, having a fullback like Darcy Park back there as your lead blocker when you're running toss, this is all reach. Everybody just tries to get a body on a body, then they lead with a fullback and toss it to Hamilton. Now wants to pursue. He gets out here. See how these defenders here, they all over-pursue the play, and then Hamilton cuts it back inside. That's a great read by the tailback. A lot of backs try to outrun, try to get to the perimeter. Hamilton reads it well, cuts back in off the block at Darcy Park.
It's a gain of 11. 1st and 10 Alberta from its own 46. And they fake to Hamilton this time. Deshkowski's under pressure, ducks away, gets it to the fullback Park. And Park does a nice job eluding the initial tackler and gets out to the Alberta 53-yard line. And the Golden Bears, who, as we mentioned earlier, primarily run the football, have done a nice job mixing it up here today so far.
This nice job by Zachowski again, because Jay Kleinsasser, the outside linebacker, comes in, and see how Zachowski keeps his poise and steps up, and Kleinsasser goes by him. And great body control by Darcy Park. For such a big man, he's got very quick feet.
Gain of 6, 2nd and 4 Alberta from its own 52-yard line. There's 6 minutes to play now in the second quarter. On second down, the give to the fullback, Darcy Park, and this time he's stacked up Linebacker Mike Nightingale was in to help make the stop, along with the nose man Trent Schmulin. So it'll bring up a 3rd down for Alberta and a couple. And is Tom Wilkinson in a gambling frame of mind? I wouldn't think so at this point in the field, particularly with the way his punter has been kicking the ball so far.
Well, they're calling a timeout. I think they want to talk about it. You've been running the ball fairly successfully, but you seem to have some momentum going for yourself on offense right now. And why would you want to give Calgary anything in this situation? I think the smart move is to punt it away and force them to try and drive the ball. You've been winning the kicking game so far today. Good numbers for Sean Zachkowski. 5 of 9, 49 yards, 1 touchdown.
You know, he comes into this game as a 59% passer. Tom Wilkinson called him very efficient as a passer. Not a guy who could consistently beat you throwing on every down, but a guy who can get it done when he needs to. And, of course, with a coach like Tom Wilkinson, you'd think that Zachkowski might have some of those attributes, because that's what a lot of coaches said about Wilkie. And you see him right in the middle of the coaching staff there. And the man on the headset to the left of the pillar is Rolly Miles Jr., whose dad, Rolly Miles Sr., was a great Edmonton Eskimo whose name is on a plaque here at Commonwealth Stadium, one of the great green and gold players. And his son, Rolly Jr., played for a Vanier Cup winner back in 1980. And Wilkie's made his decision. They're going to go for it on 3rd and a couple. Well, a big gamble by Tom Wilkinson's Golden Bears at midfield. They need to get across the Calgary 54-yard line. And they're running outside. Zachkowski, he's not going to get very far. In fact, he lost a bunch. Big defensive play by Dan Jeremiah. Not only did they not get the 1st down, it'll be Calgary football at the Alberta 45.
Dan Jeremiah making the tackle.
Well, they took a gamble, and we'll see how much it costs.
I'm real surprised at this kind of a call. And, you know, you sit here and second guess. You can say all the time in the world, but hey, you got to get the ball up the field. You can't be running laterally. I mean, this is a great running play for the University of Calgary. Dan Jeremiah comes in and makes a great tackle.
And we'll see what the Dinosaurs can do with the turnover on down. 1st and 10 from the 45. They give to Sean Ladder, and Ladder fights his way down to the 40 for a gain of 5. He's tackled on the play by the defensive end, Randy Rust.
Well, that's a real problem when you go for it 3rd down and you don't make it. It gives the other team some life again, and great field position once again for Calgary.
Well, Alberta came up with a big defensive stand. You think Ryan Williams drops that pass at the Alberta 10, and the Golden Bears hold them to a field goal. But then they give the ball right back on downs, especially with their punter kicking the way he was. 2nd and 6, Calgary will toss the ladder. And this time he's tripped up in the backfield. Peter White, the linebacker, slowed him up just enough and allowed the pursuit to get to him. So the Alberta defense stands tall and holds Calgary short. It'll be 3rd and 4 yards.
I tell you, Peter White, number 41, to the left of your screen. What a great outside linebacker. Stahl's going to come and block him. Watch, he jumps right inside. Boom, Stahl just hits air. I mean, that is a great play by the outside linebacker. Another one of those hometown boys from Edmonton.
A Canada West All-Star last year and an academic All-Canadian last year.
Well, what was so nice, he had the leverage, you know, he made sure that he had contained, and then when Stahl came up at the last moment, he just shoots back inside and makes the tackle.
And now another field goal attempt for Bruce Parsons, who's 1 for 2 today. This attempt from the 46-yard line. He kicked 5 field goals 2 weeks ago against Manitoba. Early movement, and if it's offside Alberta, that'll be a 1st down for Calgary. This goes wide. Ian Hiltz will bring it out again and goes out of bounds at about the 20, but an Alberta player jumped, and if this is offside Golden Bears, they may give Calgary the ball back. It's offside Alberta.
Boy, what a mental mistake.
So Jason Aston and the Calgary offensive unit come back on the field because that yardage will be enough to give the Dinosaurs a 1st down at the Alberta 34-yard line. Well, Alberta penalties have really cost them the day, and
Offside. 1st down, Calgary.
now they give the Dinosaurs new life. And we'll see what Aston and company can do now with a 2nd chance. 1st and 10 from the Alberta 34. 3.5 minutes to play 2nd quarter. Alberta leads by 4. They fake the draw. Aston has lots of time. Over the middle of Blair, and Don Blair off and running. The 10, and tripped up at the 7-yard line. Mike Hogan prevented him from getting to the end zone. Still, the gain is 27 yards, and it's a first and goal, Calgary.
Let's take a look. Don Blair is right here. He's just going to release and come right across the middle here, and Aston's going to come out. Well-executed bootleg. Looks outside, then he comes back inside to Don Blair.
Boy, if I was Alberta, I'd put about 6 guys on Don Blair and dare him to throw to somebody else.
He's the guy that's been killing him.
And now Blair comes out of the football game. First and goal, Calgary from the Alberta 6-yard line. And the big guys are out there now for the Dinosaurs. They give to the tailback, and Ladder gets a couple down to the 4-yard line. That's unusual to bring in your short yardage offense that far away, isn't it? First and goal from the 6?
Actually, it is, but I guess Peter Cannell right now is committed to running the football, feels he has to establish something on the ground. But now you're in a situation where you're second down and goal from the 4.5-yard line. Creates all sorts of problems for you offensively because a little bit too far to run, unless he's thinking, of course, right now that he's in 3-down territory, that if they get half the distance, they're still going to go for it.
3 minutes to play now in the second quarter. Dinosaurs took an early 7-0 lead in this football game. Alberta has come back and leads it 14-10. Now, second and goal, from the Alberta 4.5-yard line. Stahl and Ladder in the backfield. Both of them go in motion. Aston's coming up to throw to the corner of the end zone, and it is a touchdown to John Field. Touchdown Field, and Calgary is back on
top. Anytime the defender, the corner, gives you a free release off the line of scrimmage when you're that close down to the goal line, you can drive to his inside shoulder and then turn outside. And look at the separation. That's from Mike Cantle on the corner. I think you got to get right up and play in guy's face here. You can't give him that kind of room on the outside. Makes it look easy.
And now the point after for Parsons.
We're going to play hard.
So the Alberta gamble wound up costing them a touchdown. It was a 3rd and 2 from midfield. Calgary got the football back. Then on a field goal attempt, Alberta goes offside, gives Calgary another chance, and you give any team that many opportunities, it'll take advantage. The Dinosaurs did, and Calgary now leads at 17-14 with 2:46 to play.
Well, those are the kind of situations when you're a coach, it keeps you awake at night, wondering, what if I had to kick it away? What if, what if, what if? John Field, another hometown player from the University of Calgary. Not a very big receiver, but nevertheless effective. Calgary have had a history of great receivers here. Gord, you mentioned earlier Mike Freuder and James Buchanan last year, and John Field played quite a bit. He's in his 4th year at a Winston Churchill High School in Calgary.
So the Battle of Alberta has been everything we've anticipated. Hard hitting, twists and turns, just what you'd want in a meeting with provincial rivals. And in many ways, this Battle of Alberta is more intense than the ones you see in pro sports, for a reason I'll explain in just a minute. 2:46 to play here in the second quarter, and Parsons to kick it off. Low driving kick, taken by Bennett at the 15-yard line. Bennett looking for a block, gets one, and his tackle on a shoelace tackle is made by Calgary's Greg Heise, but not before he got up to the 42-yard line, a return of 27 yards.
A little bit of confusion, but nevertheless, Mark Bennett picks it up and a great run. And I'll tell you what, if Greg Heise does not make the tackle here, this one could have been in the end zone. You see Heise kind of loses the ball carrier there for a second, but then relocates him.
The reason this rivalry is in many ways more intense than professional rivalries, these players are all from Edmonton and Calgary. They grew up competing against each other in school, in sports, you name it. And Aston, having not a bad day so far, 6 for 14.
And 5 of those to Don Blair.
Give to Jay Hamilton. Hamilton hesitates a moment, then leaps into the Calgary defensive backfield and all the way down to the Dinosaur 51-yard line.
You know, right now, University of Alberta are really winning that war along the line. Riley Spears and Adam Cassidy in the right side is doing a great job here. No penetration, stymie it. Now what they do is they just get into everybody. No separation allowed. They allow Jay Hamilton to pick his way and find the opening.
Gain of 15 yards for Hamilton. 1st and 10 Alberta from the Calgary 51.5-yard line. 2:20 to play here in the second quarter. So a chance for Alberta to put some points on the board. They give to the fullback Park, who dives through the middle for about 1.5 yards. That last Calgary scoring drive, aided by a penalty, goes 6 plays, 45 yards. And it's capped off by John Field, who gets his second receiving touchdown of the season. Very little gain there for Darcy Park, so it's 2nd and 9 Alberta from the Dinosaur 51-yard line. Clock running at 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. Hamilton, the lone setback. They give to him on the draw. Gets away from the initial rush, and here he goes. He slipped, but not before he got a first down at the Calgary 39-yard line. He might have gone a lot further had he not fallen. And he picks up a gain of 10 and Alberta first down.
But take a look at the linebacker trying to fire inside here. They run counter. They don't even have to block anybody in the backside because Calgary pursues so heavily because they're so concerned about the backs getting outside. Now Hamilton's got some open field here, but the field a little bit slick. And Gord, you talked about that this morning before this game, saying that this field has a tendency at times at this time of the year to become slick.
Well, it gets soft underneath, and players that aren't accustomed to it can often lose their footing. Here's the give to Hamilton, reverses his field, pulls ahead, still going across the 30, and look at him go. Dan Jeremiah finally rides him down, but not before he gets to the 22-yard line, a gain of 17 yards. Jay Hamilton, a one-man gang on this drive.
Now, once again, Calgary trying to bring their linebackers, and what this prevents is any type of scrape action where the linebacker is supposed to flow across the formation and make the tackle the back when he turns the corner. Look at number 73, James Anderson. He comes up, they get a good block from Darcy Park, and now there's no linebackers to come across and force the play. And Hamilton's doing a great job of running the football.
And he's got the football again, dives across the 15-yard line for a gain of 6. Jay Hamilton suffered one of the strangest injuries doctors at the University of Alberta have ever seen. He dislocated his thigh bone. In fact, it was such an unusual injury, they took pictures of it. For medical textbooks. It was a dislocation that was so unusual that it actually went in to teach medical students. And I think when that happens, that's a bad thing. But a good thing for him, he's already over 100 yards today. And he had a gain of 6 there. 2nd and 4 Alberta from the Calgary 14-yard line. And they go back to the fullback, Darcy Park, and Park rumbles for the first down. Inside the 10, down at about the 7-yard line. I can't remember seeing a team run the ball this effectively.
And they're just putting on a textbook exhibition right now of running the football. And you can see Darcy Park telling the official something's wrong with that ball. Maybe he squeezed it so hard and forced the bladder out between the seams. But they're just putting it. What has impressed me so much about Darcy Park has been his quickness of his feet. Like, for a big man, he really has great light feet. He really makes a great cut. McNally High School in Edmonton.
And Deshkowski wants to go to the bench to talk it over, which he will. And Tom Wilkinson upstairs relaying the instructions to the sidelines. And
now take a look. See how this guy's inside shade of the guard, and this guy's outside shade? They're just going to turn these guys out. They're going to hand off the ball. He's going to run it right up in here. Well, they run the draw. They get back. See, they get that surge. Bang, I mean, that's a big, big hole. That's a right call against that defense. That tells me that in terms of film preparation, they know what Calgary likes to run when they get inside of their 20-yard line, and that's a look that I'm sure is on a sheet of paper that Tom Wilkinson has and says, hey, this is what we've got to run based on those shades.
look at Alberta's rushing yards already. 219 yards. I mean, I cover the CFL regularly. You'll see that number of rushing yards in a game 2 or 3 times in a season. Alberta's done it in a half and trails 17-14. 40 seconds to play here in the opening half, and Alberta can retake the lead. It's 1st and goal from the 7. The give to Hamilton. Got away from the first man. Diving towards the end zone. He's about a yard short. James Anderson had a chance to corral him in the Alberta backfield, but Hamilton just switched gears and accelerated away from him. Gain of 6. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 1.
And what's that old adage? You can't coach speed, because Anderson gets right through the gap. No one takes him. But just look at the speed and the elusiveness that Jay Hamilton possesses. That's a great play. Get around the corner, get your shoulders up the field, and accelerate.
Jay Kleinsasser, the linebacker, prevented him from getting to the end zone, but it's now 2nd and goal, Alberta from the 1. Clock running now with 25 seconds to play in the opening half. And Alberta looking to retake the lead. 3 backs in the backfield. And Dejkowski straight ahead. There are flags down. And touchdown is the indication. We'll see what the flags are all about. Dejkowski dives in for what would be his 2nd touchdown of the game. And the referee, Terry Connolly, will make the call.
There is no foul. Touchdown stand.
There's no foul, so there is a touchdown. Dejkowski goes in for his 2nd rushing touchdown of the day, his 8th of the season, and Alberta has retaken the lead.
Well, big offensive line, of course. The guards, Nord and Cassidy, both weigh in 260, 275, respectively, and Scott Staples, the big center, comes in at 270, so a lot of meat up front. Nice play, picks aside, just tries to slide in, and you can see that Darcy Park gives him a little bit of help, comes in and drills his quarterback in the back to make sure he gets into the end zone.
That's not exactly legal, but they very rarely call that. So the Alberta Golden Bears in a seesaw game have retaken the lead 21-17, and they're wearing out the turf here at Commonwealth Stadium, just pounding the ball. When you think a team could move the ball that quickly with 3 minutes remaining and just drive the ball down like that, running it, that's an impressive display of football, and Alberta is serving notice that you better add the Golden Bears to the list of Vanier Cup contenders. Last time Alberta went to the Vanier Cup was back in 1981. The Golden Bears lost that year to Acadia, won it the year before against Ottawa.
And so vitally important when you get in this time of year when the weather starts to go bad on you to have a great running game. And Alberta on that last drive ran the ball, I believe, every play.
That's right, they did. And flags are down on the kickoff. Bounces up to Sean Latter from his own 15-yard line. 13 seconds left to play. Latter's brought down the 26-yard line, a return of 13 yards. And the flag came down. It's offside against Alberta on the kickoff. Well, if you're the Calgary Dinosaurs, I have to think you'd be content going to the dressing room trailing 21-16.
Well, what they can't be content with, though, is the number of yards that Alberta's been able to run against them. It has to be a very big concern for Peter Cannella and his squad going in at halftime.
So offside of the kickoff, there you see Tom Wilkinson with Marco Sinkar to his right. Sinkar, the former Golden Bear in Eskimo, and Wilkie, of course, a CFL legend in his playing days here at Commonwealth Stadium. Hugh Campbell told me yesterday that Tom Wilkinson was the most competitively intelligent player he ever coached. Meaning that when the situation was on the line and there was a lot of things going on, Wilkie knew when to focus. And you see him talking to the supervisor of officials and explaining that he disagrees with some of the calls that have been made.
He's still coaching out there. He's talking about a guy going down, faking he's going into his stance, and then pulls up, drawing his player offside.
Another low driving kickoff. This one taken by Lewis. And now Lewis has some room to run, gets up to the 42-yard line. And a return of 30 yards. The tackle made the play by Alberta's Brian Davison. And Chris Lewis, who has a touchdown in this football game. In the Vanier Cup last year, Chris Lewis, it was hard to imagine. A year earlier, he'd been playing high school football. There he was scoring a touchdown in the Vanier Cup game. And a transition that must have been for him. And now he's a key part of the Calgary attack. The Dinosaurs, it would appear, would be content to go to the dressing room, trailing by 4. And Jason Assen stands, watches the clock run down. I'd love to see him throw it here. But he goes down to one knee, and that'll do it for the opening half, and an entertaining one it was. Alberta leads Calgary 21-17 in the battle for the second spot and the final playoff position in Canada West. Halftime is coming up next. You're watching the CIAU on TSN. Halftime in Edmonton, the Battle of Alberta between the Alberta Golden Bears and the Calgary Dinosaurs. Hi everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium. The race in the West Division has taken on a much different tone now that Brent Schneider, the quarterback for the Saskatchewan Huskies, has been injured. You may recall in a game on TSN a couple weeks ago, Schneider passed for a CIAU record 8 touchdowns, but then a week later, he He went to Calgary to take on the Dinosaurs. The numbers he had put up were incredible. In fact, he might have been a leading contender for the Heck Triton Trophy. But then came the game against the Calgary Dinosaurs last week at McMahon Stadium. In a snowstorm, Schneider, whose team was looking to secure first place in Canada West, rolls to his right and is tackled near the sideline. The result is a torn knee ligament that will keep him out indefinitely. Now, some doctors are saying he'll be out for the season. Schneider may be back sooner than that.
Well, for sure it's a torn medial collateral ligament, and that the degree of the tear varies from doctor to doctor, and just like I said, it's just something that I have to just let heal, and it just to see how long it'll be. Like it's hard to say right now.
We'll put the pieces together and see if we can come up with a plan. Obviously, our offensive attack will change somewhat. We'll have to run the ball a little bit more, I would think, but that may not be all that bad at this time of the year either, you know. So we can't replace Brent. There's probably nobody in the country that could replace him at this point in time, but we'll adjust, and you know, and just hopefully for his sake, it's not that serious.
Just underway, Manitoba is at Saskatchewan, the Huskies third ranked in the nation, and that game, as we mentioned, just getting underway, is scoreless in the opening quarter. Well, just how important is a quarterback to a team? Ask the Calgary Dinosaurs. They won 3 Vanier Cups in the 1980s, and one of them thanks to a quarterback who became a Vanier Cup hero, a Calgary Dinosaur legend, Craig Vavra, in the spotlight today.
It culminated my career the way I wanted it culminated. I had a goal and a desire to win the Vanier Cup with the University of Calgary. It was special to that team because it was the first Vanier Cup that the University of Calgary had competed in since '75, and the first one they had won. So it was a big game for me from that perspective, mostly from the team goals that we had set and were able to accomplish at the end of that game. And the fact that we ended up trailing in the game and we were able to come back and regain the lead. I think the drive that regained the lead is still very fresh in my mind. And, of course, the touchdown pass to Mike Shiroska is the play that capped that off. So I think that play in particular and the drive as a whole was probably the highlight of that game and the highlight of that year for me. It's memories is all that it is, and my family continues to have very good friends that were made during that period of time, and that's all you remember. The football was just a game, and it continues to be just a game, and the memories of the friends, the times that you had, and the relationships that you developed over that time are very special to us now.
The 30th Vanier Cup on TSN comes your way Saturday, November 19th. Canada's University Football Championship, the pregame show at 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific. The kickoff at 2:48 Eastern, 11:48 Pacific time. We'll have all the action for you here on TSN. Here, it's Alberta leading Calgary at halftime, 21-17. We'll return with more at halftime in just a moment here on TSN. The Golden Bears are in front 21-17 over the Calgary Dinosaurs at halftime at Commonwealth Stadium, and Gooba, the Golden Bear, is smiling so far this afternoon. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium. I'm Gord Miller along with Jamie Bowen. Well, it went pretty much as advertised. Alberta would run the ball. The Golden Bears have. Down 7-0. We saw a running play that was a little unusual. A quarterback goes 74 yards for a touchdown.
Well, I think what was unusual about it is everybody expected, of course, Hamilton and Park to be the big ball carrier, but here they run naked boot. This is run all the way. Sean Zakowski gets outside, and boy, he turns on the jets right here and leaves everybody in his wake. This guy's showing everybody across Canada that he has speed.
The top rushing quarterback in Canada West gets his team on the board, and at that point the game was tied at 7. Then we saw Manny DeSouza a little later, only the second passing touchdown for the Golden Bears this season.
And a nice move, works inside man coverage. Now he gets around the defender, and a great throw by the quarterback. Zakowski again puts the ball up nice and high and allows DeSouza to run underneath it.
And a great play there as he was held by the face mask. Then we saw Don Blair, who is the man offensively for the Calgary Dinosaurs. He simply does all the work when they throw the football. This is a great catch here.
Well, Jason Aston has 6 completions in the first half. 5 of them have gone to Don Blair, and that's just an excellent catch. He's one of the best slot backs in the nation.
And then the touchdown to John Field. This is on 2nd and goal from the 4, and Field, who hasn't caught many balls this season, makes an important grab here.
Well, his only catch in the first half proves to be very important for Calgary. It is a square out, but you can see that he just leaves the defender, Cantalone, all behind. And then they get down here again. It's Zachkowski once again on the quarterback sneak. Decides, hey, I'm going to take it myself, and that's his 8th rushing touchdown of the year.
Well, we talked about this Alberta running game, Jamie, and you look at the yards that Alberta has put on the board so far. 221 yards on the ground so far. Jay Hamilton is over 100 yards rushing. He did that late in the second quarter. How long has it been since you saw a team in any league run the ball this well?
It's been a long time, and I tell you what, it really causes great problems for Calgary. I'm sure Peter Cannellan right now didn't have time talking to his troops, but they try to take away the inside trap that was hurting them. That leaves you susceptible to the outside game. And they've really had trouble right now stopping the outside, stopping trap. Whenever they try to take something away, Alberta have the ability to, with their backs, to do whatever they want right now in terms of the run game.
But the point should be made, Calgary's only down by 4, so the Dinosaurs are right in this football game. Now at halftime, they'll have to make some adjustments.
That's right, and I think actually if you're Alberta, what has to concern you is the play of Don Blair. I'm sure that Tom Wilkinson at halftime is saying, we've got to take this guy away and force other people to beat us. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a guy line up on Don Blair in the second half as they forced Jason Assen to try and win it in different ways by throwing to John Field and to other receivers.
In order to clinch a playoff spot, Calgary must win this game by 5. As mathematics come into play, only 2 teams make it in Canada West. If Alberta wins this game this afternoon, the Golden Bears are off to the playoffs, and the Dinosaurs can start thinking about next year. 21-17 is the score at Commonwealth Stadium. Our halftime will continue in just a moment here on TSN. 21-17, the Alberta Golden Bears lead the Calgary Dinosaurs in the latest installment of the Battle of Alberta. Last year, these two teams met in the Canada West Final. It was Calgary that came away with the victory. This afternoon, Alberta looks to knock its provincial rival out of the playoff picture and secure a playoff spot for itself. Jason Assen so far in the football game, 6 of 14 for 111 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions already. His numbers looking much better than they were in the first meeting between these two schools. And Sean Zachkowski has completed 5 of 9 for 49 and a touchdown, but the big story for him, a 74-yard touchdown run that pulled Alberta even in the early moments of the football game. So the fans here settle in at Commonwealth Stadium, and Tom Wilkinson spoke to us earlier about keeping his team focused in this football game, hoping that with national television coming to shine the spotlight, his players wouldn't get too distracted.
Biggest thing we talked about is just going out and playing football. Don't try to play better than you're capable of. Just try to get to that level. And I think that we did a pretty good job last week. And I really think the players can concentrate just on this game. And sure, the talking to different people, there is always the question, well, what about playoffs? What about playoffs? But the important thing is the game you're playing, and just do the best job you can and try to win it.
So far, his players have done a pretty good job. Look at Jay Hamilton's numbers so far. 10 carries for 119 yards. He was the drive. And when Alberta came down to take the lead, I mean, you see a team with the 2-minute drill running the ball like that, and that's pretty impressive.
Well, what's incredible is that this team, Alberta, may have, after today's game, 3 ball carriers over 100 yards. You're talking, he's having pretty good yards. Darcy Park had that long one nullified because of the holding penalty, but he's been a workhorse, as well as Sean Zachkowski, the quarterback, with that 74-yard run as well. So they are running the ball at will, and Calgary have to devise some type of a scheme to try and stop it. But I'll tell you what, it's very difficult to stop all facets of the run game. If you can't stop if you stop inside trap, it leaves off tackle outside open. If you stop off tackle, it leaves the inside trap open. Very, very difficult.
And for the Calgary Dinosaurs, who went to the Vanier Cup last year, experience is a heavy factor in their favor. Peter Cannellan told us what he told his players before this game.
I think that every team, when they start out the season, their goal is to get to the Vanier Cup, and we're no different. But I think at the same time, the important thing is to approach each game as a must game, and in this case, it's a playoff game. So it's the old adage, one game at a time, and if you forget that, you may not have an opportunity to play another game that's important.
Peter Cannellan has never had a losing season as the head coach of the Calgary Dinosaurs. That's an impressive record that includes 3 Vanier Cup wins.
But you know what is interesting? Every year that they have won the Canada West at the end of the regular season in standings, that was 1983, 85 and 88, they won the Vanier Cup. Every other year that they might go, win the playoff game, they don't win the Vanier. So it seems to be very, very important for them to finish first in this league.
Well, that's not bad. A 37.5-yard rushing average for Sean Zajkowski through the opening 30 minutes of football.
He's going to give Pumalo Sicanetta from McGill a run for his money because he had those great numbers a week ago when McGill played Concordia.
Well, Tom Wilkinson told me yesterday about him and said how well he runs the football. What he didn't say is how well he throws the football. We saw him a couple of times in the opening half. Football's right on the money with a strong arm.
And it's interesting, when you get a quarterback like Zajkowski and he gets back there and shows he has the ability to run, does it ever negate the rush? Because people are afraid to commit themselves to him, afraid to come in and try and, force him to run the football. They're afraid, so it gives him more time back to throw, and he shows he has the arm, he can put the ball in the money.
So the Calgary Dinosaurs trail by 4, need to win by 5 or more to clinch a playoff spot. And if they don't, it comes down to next weekend. If Calgary was to win the game by 3, it would bring up an interesting situation. Alberta closes out the season against Manitoba. Calgary plays UBC at home. You wouldn't think that UBC in a rebuilding year would give Calgary much of a run. Alberta would then have to hope for a Calgary loss and an Alberta victory, and then take it on points for and against.
Well, that's why they like this game today, because it's up to them to determine their own fate. You don't have to depend on anybody else.
Calgary will receive the football to open the second half. Lewis and Ladder are back deep to receive. This is Chris Lewis, who lets it bounce around and picks it up at the 7. And Lewis goes straight ahead and up to the 25-yard line. The tackle made by Ian Hiltz. And a return of 18 yards.
I'll be interested to see if Alberta come out right away and try and take away Dom Blair, because he's really been the factor in the first half that has hurt them. 5 receptions, of course, and made some great circus catches. At a Notre Dame High School in Saskatchewan, as are a couple of members of this Calgary Dinosaur team. Ron Meyer, the other one, of course, plays offensive line.
As is Wendell Clark, Russ Portnoy, Gary Lehman, a host of other NHLers. That school best known as a hockey factory. On the opening play of the second half, they give to the tailback. And the gain is maybe a couple for Chris Lewis.
And what a great play by Steve Dallison, the defensive tackle. All-star a year ago. Boy, he just gets right into the gap and sheds his blocker and makes a tackle. Super job. You see him to the left of your screen. Number 53 fights that off. Bang, right in there to the back. That's how you play defense. Stays low.
Gain was 1, 2nd and 9 Calgary from its own 25-yard line. Opening moments of the second half. Aston has time. Looks across the middle, has a receiver, and has a first down, but there's a flag down. Ryan Carruthers made the catch, ridden down by Ian Hiltz, but this is likely holding against Calgary, and it will bring the completion back. And referee Terry Connolly, who was busy in the opening half, busy here once again. And the initial indication was too many men against Alberta, so now they can decide whether to keep the completion to Carruthers or take the penalty. And the completion was good for a first down.
Eligible receiver, Alberta 36, declined, first down.
So pass interference, for lack of a better expression, they're calling against Kevin Algar, the linebacker. First down, Calgary, at its own 39-yard line. The Dinosaurs off and moving here on the opening drive of the second half. The toss to Chris Lewis. Lewis forced outside, now heads upfield, and ridden out of bounds hard right at the first down marker. Play made by linebacker Sean Newton, who got some help from defensive end Steve Dallison.
These are the kind of things that Calgary wanted to come in here and run. You see they pull both guards. He pitched to Chris Lewis. He gets around the corner, and that's solid. You can see the great block by Gene Stahl, number 39, the fullback. Allows Lewis to get around the corner, get up the field.
And they'll measure this close to a first down. He was pushed right out of bounds at the marker. Peter Cannella talked about a team playing ball control, but not necessarily running the ball to do it. He feels his team can play ball control by throwing it. That was a good example there.
Well, I think he feels with Jason Aspen being in his 4th year, an experienced quarterback who has played quite a bit, played 2 years ago, of course, when John Kalin came down with that thumb injury, and then last year he split those duties with John Kalin, played in the Vanier Cup, and actually was instrumental in coming in. Chris Lewis, of course, the workhorse for Calgary in the backfield today. Pretty good numbers so far. Tom Wilkinson looks on.
It's a first down for the Dinosaurs at their own 49-yard line. And the give to the fullback, Gene Stahl, and Stahl rumbles his way across midfield. And the tackle is made there by defensive back Kevin Connick.
Well, they run the trap here again. They'll double the nose. The center and the guard double it. Linebacker, of course, down on Algar, and then they run Gene Stahl right up that seam. You know, one thing about Alberta, they don't do a lot of different things on defense. They come out in that 30 package where they have the nose and the 2 tackles. They play fairly static, but they play great, solid defense.
Gain was 6, 2nd and 4 Calgary, right at midfield. And they go back to the ground. Lewis, and he is stacked up right away. Great defensive play by Randy Rust with some support by Dave Noonan, the linebacker.
And, you know, you mentioned Dave Noonan, and that's the guy who really makes the play here. Again, we talked about them running counter where they pull backside guard and tackle. Watch what Noonan does here. Works upfield, forces Lewis back inside, and then Randy Rust comes down and makes the tackle. That is textbook defense right there. Make sure you force the ball carrier back inside and let all your other people help you out.
I say you come across, baby.
Forces Calgary in a punting situation. Parsons back at his own 40. And this is off the side of his foot. Not a very good kick at all. And Alberta will have its opening possession of the second half in pretty good field position as the ball is spotted out of bounds at the Alberta 44-yard line. An 11-yard punt by Bruce Parsons.
You know, it's like a golfer. You got to keep your head down and keep your head on the ball all the time. And you know, he kind of lifts his head up, swings his leg across it as opposed to going straight, and it shanks off the side of his foot.
Almost missed it. First and 10 Alberta now from its own 44-yard line. The Golden Bears lead the game by 4. And you can bet they'll keep pounding it along the ground. Here's Jay Hamilton sliding his way outside, and first down yardage into Calgary territory, forced out of bounds at the Dinosaur 52. A gain of 13 yards. They just make it look easy.
It's just showing you the kind of people that Alberta have on the offensive line. Look at the left side. Once again, they get into people. Nice block again by Darcy Park, the fullback, and that springs Hamilton. This is a very talented football team, the University of Alberta Golden Bears and their offensive line. They really get into people, and they never allow the defender to disengage. They always stay on them.
On first down, they give the lead back, and not much going for Darcy Park. Schmulin corralled him early and slowed him up just enough to allow some Calgary defenders to jump up and give him some help. So give credit to the nose tackle, Schmulin, for limiting that gain to 1 yard.
Trent Schmulin, of course, has been a great player for Calgary the past 5 seasons. He's in his last season this year. There's 3 sacks coming into this season, but very important job playing that nose. They list him as a nose, but they actually slide him over and they play him on the guard.
And Calgary leads the conference with 16 sacks, but Alberta throws the ball so rarely that pass rush is almost a non-factor in the game. 2nd and 9. They fake to Hamilton. Here comes Zachkowski outside with room to run. Zachkowski, first down yardage. And almost got his head taken off at the Calgary 40-yard line. But not before he ran outside and got the first down.
You can hear everybody in Calgary yelling, boop, boop, boop. They pull the backside guard, Patrick Norton. He's the personal escort, gets a nice job on the block there. Now when he gets outside, Zachkowski has the option of running or throwing. He sees that he can get the first down without being touched. It's a smart play. Should learn the hook slide, though, a little bit, because it's vitally important to this football team. They can't afford to have him get injured.
With rushing numbers like that, no wonder. Back to the ground. Jay Hamilton, here he goes the other way, and Hamilton puts his head down. This is just awesome running football. A gain of 11 and another Alberta first down.
Now watch the offensive line for Alberta. See how they get into people and they don't let them go. They stay on them. They stay on them. And, you know, when Jay Hamilton makes his cut there, he's about 5 yards downfield. That's the kind of push that offensive line is getting on Calgary's defense right now.
Alberta has not had a 1,000-yard rusher since 1988 when Tom Hogue did it for them, but Jay Hamilton looks to do that and more. Zajkowski backs the throw, has a man to Sousa and a man to Pete, but a good defensive play made by the cornerback Bob Kidd, and D'Souza slipped on the play, which limited the gain to 2.
And that doesn't bode well. Looks like he hurt his ankle or his knee.
Well, he slipped awkwardly on the turf here at Commonwealth Stadium. What happens is the ground underneath freezes, and then when the sun comes out, it gets really slippery underneath. Now, Saskatchewan playing without Brent Schneider leads Manitoba 7-0. That game is in the first quarter, a game that is being closely watched by both these teams who still harbor possibilities of getting into first place in Canada West and being the home team for the playoff game. Now on 2nd and 8. Draw play, Hamilton. And here he goes. Hamilton inside the 10, down to the 6-yard line. On 2nd and long, they run the football like that. Gain of 20 yards.
You know, we saw this play a little bit earlier. Watch the right part of your screen, the right tackle. That's Riley Spears. They try to run the trap, but you know what? It's not there, and Hamilton cuts it back inside. He thinks that he sees the flow. Everybody tries to recognize trap, and James Anderson had a shot at him. Would have prevented him from getting the first down.
This is sorry, Jamie, this is like watching a back alley beating. 1st and goal, Alberta from the 6. Here they come again. The fullback Park dives his way into the middle and gets a couple.
Very impressive offensive line. Jay Hamlin, very impressive day for him. We said for Calgary, we felt coming into this game to have any chance, they would have to hold Alberta total to less than maybe 150 yards rushing. They've been averaging 176 yards allowed Calgary's defense coming into this game, but Hamilton already with those big numbers way over 150.
Hamilton's dented the average a little today. It's now 2nd and goal, Alberta from the Calgary 4, and the Golden Bears looking to increase their lead. Park and Hamilton in the backfield. They fake to Hamilton. Here comes Zajkowski, and no one will even come close. Touchdown, Zajkowski, his 3rd of the game. His 9th rushing touchdown of the season. And with the convert, Alberta can lead by 11.
This is a team that loves bootleg once again. You know, they fake Hamilton in here. They take this guard and they pull him out, and then he hooks. And once Zajkowski sees that, he's going to just take it outside and run it into the end zone. Pull that guard. Now watch the guard here hook right there. Bang. He hooks him. Now he gets outside. Everybody thinks it's a running play to the backside. Very easy. He flies into the end zone.
And Darcy Park through the final block that sprung him into the end zone. McKenzie with the point after that is good, and Alberta now has some breathing room, leading 28-17. 8:08 to play in the 3rd quarter. Can anyone stop this guy from running? Sean Zajkowski came into this game averaging 7 yards a carry. In this game, he's averaging about 24 yards a carry.
Truly incredible numbers. And everybody's so afraid of Jay Hamilton and Darcy Park. Boy, they got to worry about this guy. Zajkowski has done a super job in running the football.
And 292 yards rushing for Alberta.
You've got 8 minutes left to go in the 3rd quarter.
I know a lot of CIAU coaches tape these games while their team is playing, and you got to think when they get home tonight and see this, that they'll suddenly take notice of Alberta, not only in the national rankings, but in terms of wondering who just might go to Skydome in late November. Kickoff is taken short by Ladder. Flags are down, and so is Ladder down at the 26-yard line, a return of 4 yards. And the tackle was made on the play by Murray DeBlanco.
And they fake it to Hamilton. See, everybody tries to go to him. You see James Anderson going there as well, the middle linebacker. Everybody gets caught thinking Hamilton's running the ball. But Zajkowski gets outside, gets a good block from Darcy Park. Very easy.
And the scoring drive consumes nearly 4 minutes on the clock and is capped off by Zajkowski on the 4-yard run. And 1 pass in that drive. 1st and 10 Dinosaurs. Flags are down. And the pass is complete to the far side to Kevin Klein for a gain of 5. And procedure is the call against Calgary. So the game will be nullified, and you got to think this is a very important drive coming up for the Dinosaurs.
It's a key
Illegal
drive.
motion, number 56, Calgary, first down repeated.
Right tackle Ben Fairbrother is called for illegal motion, and the 6th penalty of the game for the Calgary Dinosaurs. Alberta had a penalty that really costed some points when it, on a field goal attempt, gave Calgary a first down and allowed the Dinosaurs to go down for a touchdown. Now 1st and 15 Dinosaurs from their 21-yard line. Aston under pressure, and it's a screen pass to Blair, but he couldn't hang on just as well anyway. There was a man right on top of him, linebacker Dave Noonan.
And you know who else was there was Ian Hiltz. What they're doing is that exactly what we talked about at halftime. They're taking Ian Hiltz and they're sticking him, their best defensive back. They're putting him on Don Blair, and he's going to follow a man-to-man wherever he goes in that field. They'll play all sorts of different zone coverages, but watch over here. Noonan comes over, number 25, the linebacker. Just at the bottom of your screen, you see his head. But Ian Hiltz is sitting over there just saying, throw him the ball.
So don't be surprised if you see Ian Hiltz sitting next to Don Blair on the Calgary team bus, leaving the stadium today. He won't let him go until he gets to the city limits. Now 2nd and 15 Dinosaurs from their own 21-yard line. Looking underneath, he's got Blair. Blair's got a long way to go for the first down, but he gets away from the initial tackle and dives. And he should have the first down as he got away from Sean Tate, almost like a rugby try there.
Well, this is we talked about Alberta playing man coverage against him. This time they let him go. You know, they run zone. You can see Cottrey just let them go underneath. I don't think he can allow that for Don Blair. He's too good a football player. He just leaves Ian Hiltz in his wake, and then he dives for the first down. Great football player, this kid.
Gain of 16 yards gives Calgary a first down now at its own 38-yard line. 6:50 to play in the 3rd quarter. Calgary trails by 11. Aston has some time, looking to the sideline to Field, and Field has the catch at the 49-yard line, close to another Calgary first down.
Boy, a big play by Jason Aston, Calgary quarterback. Gets back, and he looks to his left. No primary receiver open. And he has Peter White closing in on him. Gains his poise. Delivers a strike over there to John Field for the first down. Heads-up play.
And now Calgary with the ball at its own 50 and moving it nicely. They fake the toss to Lewis, and now he's going deep. 2 Alberta defenders converge on the football. It's broken up by the safety, Kevin Kotick, and that ball might have hung up there just a little too long. He was looking up there for Kevin Klein.
Well, the receiver comes off the ball, and he looks like he's going to stalk the defensive back, and then he makes a burst down the field, but you can see he's well covered by Mike Hogan and Kevin Kotick. Actually kind of goes through his hands. Almost could have been caught if Kevin Klein hadn't kept his feet.
Now brings up a 2nd and 10 Calgary, and Alberta brings in the extra defensive back, so the nickel is in for Alberta. And you'd have to think Blair would be the primary target here. Aston's going over the top, has the man open, incomplete. He was looking for Ryan Carruthers, and it looked as if Carruthers had it for a moment and then saw it go through his fingers. That's the 3rd time that's happened to him this afternoon.
This is not a great afternoon for Ryan Carruthers. You can't ask the quarterback to put the ball in a better spot. Play a little bit of zone. They dropped Mike Cantillon back in zone. They had the corner up, and they're all looking for Don Blair doing that seam pattern in there, and then he throws it to Ryan Carruthers, and he can't come down with the catch.
For the 2nd straight drive, the Dinosaurs drive it neatly from their own zone, get up to midfield and stall, and now they'll have to give it back to that running game of Alberta. Carson's punt is end over end, bouncing to the 35-yard line, and it's picked up by Ian Hiltz. Hiltz is driven out of bounds at the 27-yard line. No gain on the return.
Good job, boys.
Let's check some out-of-town scores for you and some scores that will decide playoff positions. Laurier is all over Windsor, leading 30-3. 2nd-ranked Laurier in the 4th quarter.
And Laurier, of course, already has 2nd place wrapped up in the OUAA.
1st and 10 Alberta now from its own 28-yard line. Golden Bears lead this game by 11. Give to Jay Hamilton. Hamilton trying to slide outside, but he won't get far this time. The Dinosaurs do a good job stacking that up. Trent Schmulin in to help make the stop. along with defensive tackle Troy Eddington. A gain of a couple.
It was a nice job by the nose tackle Trent Schmuland, who's actually playing defensive tackle now. They try to shade him in the gap between Scott Staples and Adam Cassidy. You just see him to the left of your screen. With the ball deep in the backfield, he sheds his blocker, comes down the line, and
forced him right to Garrett Everson. And Everson was happy to make the stop, and a moral victory for Calgary, stopping Alberta to a gain of 2. Last time on 2nd and 8, Alberta ran the ball for a first down. This time they think it. Kowski back to throw. Back over the middle, and it bounced off the hands of the intended receiver, Jay Hamilton. Hamilton, who came into the game with 11 catches, had that bounce right off his shoulder pad.
It's unusual for Jay Hamilton to drop a pass like that right in his numbers. They fake sprint draw, and then they release Hamilton underneath. Throwback, pretty well covered by Mike Nightingale anyway, the outside linebacker for Calgary.
Scott McKenzie back to punt. Here comes the rush. McKenzie gets it away. Another high spiraling kick. And it's taken to the 45-yard line and out across midfield to the 48. Don Blair with a good punt return gives Calgary field position. The Dinosaurs trail by 11 at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium. Check your scores out of town. Western pounding Guelph, the #1 ranked Mustangs, 48-4 in the fourth quarter. And Western has scored 31 points in the third quarter of that football game. Second-ranked Laurier leads Windsor 30-3, and Bill Coop is having another big day for Laurier. 418 yards passing, and he's now 50 yards short of Greg Vavra's career record for passing yards. 8,407 Vavra threw for in his career from 1979, concluding with the Vanier Cup game in 1983. And you wonder, with Sean Zachkowski running the way he is for Alberta, if he won't shatter some quarterback rushing records. Concordia with a 7-point lead at Lennoxville against Bishops, a key game in the Ontario-Quebec Conference. And we'll continue to watch the scores for you all afternoon. Here, it's 1st and 10 Calgary from the Alberta 50. Aston comes up throwing. He's going long again, and he has his man. Who else but Don Blair? And brought down at the 33-yard line. Check that, it's Kevin Klein with the catch. And here's the guys that do the work up front for the Alberta Golden Bears. You're looking at offensive guard Adam Cassidy and company, and Jay Hamilton and the fellas might want to take these guys out for some supper tonight.
Doesn't look like he's sweated very much today, does it? I mean, gosh, he's been in there pounding away, but it looks like he's fresh off the bench. Got a little smile on his face.
A little cool out there. It might stop him from sweating. The game was 17 for Klein. 1st and 10 now from the Alberta 33-yard line. Aston coming this way where he's got 3 receivers. And this time gets it to Blair, who gets away from a couple and down to the 24-yard line. Gain of 9. Don Blair, the second leading receiver in Canada West, and no wonder the way Aston looks to him.
Don Blair just has great body control. That's a beautiful cut in front of Ian Hilt. Catches the ball. Now, you know, he's trying to make some things happen here, and I think he might have had the first down, but he ended up losing it as he came back trying to make extra yardage.
And now at the 25-yard line, 2nd and a long yard. 3:15 to play in the third quarter, and Calgary trailing by 11. Give to Lewis, who jumps ahead and has the first down as he gets down to the 20-yard line for a gain of 4.
It's been a very impressive drive by Calgary's offense. Seem to be mixing it up quite a bit. They've been running play-action pass. Now they run off tackle with Chris Lewis. The big tackle, right tackle outside.
Well, you've got to think that if Calgary gets to the end zone here, it's a major emotional boost. The Dinosaurs would be within 4 and right back in the football game. And as well as Alberta has run the football, Calgary has hung in there. 1st and 10 now from the 20. Aston on the fink. Lots of time. Stops and gets buried. Tried to reverse his field, and Kevin Algar wanted nothing of it and dropped him where he stood. And Jason Aston comes up limping.
We can see they run bootleg again, and Algar reads it. Now he comes in here. Aston was looking outside initially, then he wants to come back inside and hit Don Blair. But you can see Kevin Algar comes in and makes a great sack.
Loss in the play was 10. Make it 2nd and 20.
Looks like a lot of guys shaved their heads for this game.
It's a convention of bowling balls. Here's Jason Aston now. He's time again, throwing over the middle, has Blair. Blair is back to the original line of scrimmage, but Ian Hiltz would not let him get any further. A gain of 10, but it'll be 3rd and 10 for the Dinosaurs.
You know, I can't tell you how difficult a catch this is. This is incredible. He's put it across the formation, the ball. So watch his hit, so he turns right around here. Look, bang, doesn't even lose a step. That is exceptional. This guy is some football player. Just a super athlete. Look at the reception, 140 yards. I tell you what, folks, it's made a couple of great circus catches as well. Very talented, has great control of his body. It's nice to see.
Now Bruce Parsons on to try the field goal from 27 yards out. This would pull the Dinosaurs within 8, so a touchdown and a 2-point convert could tie the game. From the 27. Parsons puts it up and good. And so the Calgary Dinosaurs convert on that drive. 3 for the Dinosaurs, and they now trail by 8 with 1:19 to play in the 3rd quarter. We'll return to Commonwealth Stadium in just a moment here on TSN.
Do you dream in color? In bottomless blues and screaming yellows? In sounds that shake you to the bottom of your heart? In images clear as crystal and brilliant as ice? In faraway worlds as close as your fingertips? These are what dreams and Sony Trinitron televisions are made of. Make one come true for you. It's your life. Isn't it worth a Sony?
Well, the score is important for Laurier, 30-3 over Windsor, but Bill Kubas has just become the CIAU's all-time leading passer with 8,424 career yards. He moves Greg Vavre down to number 2 spot, and Bill Kubas, who has Vanier Cup dreams of his own, he's been to the game once before. His team could be headed back there, but they'd be headed for a big showdown with the Western Ontario Mustangs.
And he'd have to be the Heck Crichton nominee, I would imagine, coming out of the OUAA this year.
Here it's Alberta leading Calgary 28-20 on Gord Miller along with Jamie Bone. Loser this game, almost certain to miss the Canada West playoff. Here's Sean Zachkowski, who has 3 rushing touchdowns. Throwing it here, has his man, Manny D'Souza, and he's up to the 52-yard line for a quick gain of 16 yards.
This is a perfect example of why running the football gives you a lot of time when you're on play-action pass. D'Souza makes his break. It's there and waits. Zachkowski has lots of time in the pocket, no pressure on him whatsoever, and he delivers a strike.
First and 10, Alberta from its own 51-yard line. And they fake to Hamilton. Here comes Zachkowski. Gets a block looking over the top. Has Bennett, and does he have the catch? Yes, down to the 7-yard line. What a catch by Mark Bennett. His first of the day, only his 5th of the season. And a gain of 49 yards.
Now watch the job that Zachkowski does here. The guard's coming out. It looks like he wants that run, but he stops, and he allows the guard to get the block. He gets his feet set, and now he delivers the ball down the field. Nice and high, but what a great catch by Mark Bennett. Coverage was all over him by Rob Kidd. Or excuse me, that was Pat Hardy in a corner.
Now it's first and goal, Alberta from the Calgary 8. Zachkowski's thrown the ball well when he had to. And here he comes again, rolling to his right, throwing to the end zone over the head of Park, or was it too short for Manny D'Souza? The ball fell between the 2 receivers.
You know, that's the case right there where the quarterback's trying to hand the ball to the receiver when he's so wide open. Instead of getting his feet set or just throwing the ball normally, he sees him so wide open that he wants to just kind of feather it in there, and the ball gets away from him.
The catch by Bennett, the first by a wide receiver today for Alberta. And again, the guy had his hand all over his face mask.
That's an incredible catch by Mark Bennett. First-year player out of Sherwood Park.
Now second and goal, Alberta from the Calgary 8. Surprising to see Alberta throwing on first down. They fake the draw to Hamilton. Zachkowski's got pressure, and he's not going anywhere. So the Dinosaurs answer back, and Troy Eddington stands his ground and drops Zachkowski with some help from Trent Schmulin.
But you know what he did here, Gord? He showed great poise in not throwing the ball up, because bad things can happen. When things are breaking down here in play-action pass, They get a pretty good pass rush up the field by Troy Eddington, but hey, he's not going to throw the ball up for grabs. He's saying, hey, you know, at the end of the quarter, it's going to be second down. Let's do it again.
Alberta leads 28-20. That's the final play of the third quarter. We'll be back for the fourth in a moment. There's a happy Alberta fan. His team leads by 8 and will now try a 21-yard field goal from Sean Tate, the left-footed kicker who succeeds John Cutler as the place kicker here in Alberta. It's down, it's up, and it is good. And Alberta has restored its 11-point lead with 14:46 to play now in the fourth quarter. They split the kicking duties between Scott McKenzie and Tate. And the reasoning from Tom Wilkinson is that Tate, when things get a little tight, might be a little more consistent than McKenzie.
I thought it might have been the left-footed kicker on the left hash, the right-footed kicker on the right hash.
Well, you see, that's the advantage of unlimited rosters in Canada West. You can dress your left-footed kicker, your right-footed kicker, and I guess you have the straight-ahead guy for right down the middle.
I think John Cutler might have been the last straight-ahead guy we'll see in a while.
Calgary takes over first and 10 at their own 35-yard line. The Dinosaurs need some points. Aston goes out to the flat. Guess who? Don Blair. Got a couple of guys on him, and he won't get away. His shadow right on him again, Ian Hiltz. And Hiltz is with him every step of the way and stops him there for a gain of 3. The numbers through 3 quarters. And 16 first downs for Alberta. It's more than 106 yards rushing, I should think. Time of possession, 24 minutes, 16 seconds. Second and 6 for the Dinosaurs from their own 39. Throw over the middle and more than blanket coverage, and that will be pass interference against Mike Hogan as he worked over Kevin Klein big time. He got everything but his wallet there. And the call made by Terry Connolly and company, and that'll give Calgary a first down out around midfield. Alberta arguing it's uncatchable football.
Defensive pass interference, Alberta, number 24. First down.
But it was uncatchable because he was wearing a guy.
Well, the ball was thrown a little bit outside, but nevertheless, Mike Hogan, you can't come over the receiver to knock the ball away. Jason Assen. Definitely pass interference. Wouldn't allow Kevin Klein to work back to get the ball.
Now a first down Calgary at its own 54-yard line. Assen gets the block, throws it up over the middle, has Blair away from the first man, and Hiltz drops him at the 45, close to another first down. The ball came loose, but I believe that Calgary got it back. Pickup of 11. And it should be another Calgary first down or very close to it. Here's the numbers now through 3 quarters, and there's the correct rushing yardage. 294 so far, and that's through 45 minutes of football. 411 net yards.
And we talked about Don Blair, what a great athlete he is and the kind of catches he makes, but he doesn't tuck the ball away a lot. He only has the ball kind of out away from his body. That's a fumble.
And you called it earlier. Assen throws it up, and it's broken up and almost intercepted. What a play by the safety, Kevin Connick, who got over and helped out Mike Candela, and that ball hung up in the air for a couple of seconds. Well, Jamie, you called that in the first half, the way that Don Blair holds the football, and it probably should have been a fumble on that previous play.
You can see the kind of pressure that they're coming after Assen there. That's a great job for Assen to get the ball away. Ball gets kicked off at John Field's foot. Goes up in the air, almost picked off by U of A.
Now it's second and 10 Calgary from the Alberta 45. Big second down for the Dinosaurs. Here comes the blitz. Assen has time and has a man down to the 25-yard line. He completes it there to John Field. Gain of 20 yards.
I'll tell you what, Jason Assen is doing a fine job in their quarterback right now. They're coming after him with a lot of people, bringing the blitz. You can see Sean Newton, number 45, comes up. They do a good job of picking it up, and he stands in there and delivers a great strike to John Field.
And now the Dinosaurs rolling first and 10 at the Alberta 26-yard line. And Assen, 16 of 27, is having a pretty good day today. Now rolling to the near side, throwing out for the flat, and he's got his man Klein inside the 10-yard line. In fact, they'll spot it right at the 10. Forced out of bounds by the corner, Mike Hogan. Gain of 16 yards.
You can tell Calgary's a very disciplined football team because even though they're behind in this game and it looked like it was getting away from them, they really haven't given up and they haven't lost their poise. This is a team that's used to winning football games. They know how to win football games, and you win football games by not giving up, keeping your poise.
It'll be first and goal, Calgary, just inside the 10-yard line. The Dinosaurs cannot get another first down. Asset out to the flat, has Stahl. Stahl's got one man to beat, and he's dragged down at the 1-yard line. Well, they gave up a lot in size, but Kevin Kotick brought down the fullback, Gene Stahl, gain of 9 down to the 1. And it brings up a second and goal, Calgary. And now the big people come back in.
Looks like a little bit of a face mask there as well. Kevin Kotick used to haul down Gene Stahl. But this turned out to be a great football game.
Well, the Dinosaurs trail by 11. And if they score the touchdown here, brings up an interesting question. Do you go for 2? 3 backs to the set. Aston gives the tailback. He did not get there. There.
And what a job by Barkley Spady, the nose tackle.
And now he's lost a yard. It's going to be third and goal from the 2. Sean Latter just couldn't get going, and Dave Noonan helped make the stop as well.
It's a great job, Barkley Spady, of course, lining up in the nose, but now in this goal line defense, he'll line up in the gap.
And now the Calgary coaches have a decision to make. And Jason Aston wants to go to the sidelines to talk it over.
Well, I think with Jason Aston, and I think what they're going to do here is give him some type of an option. Get him outside, run some play-action pass, run that bootleg, give him the option to run or to throw it. It's a great defensive stand by the Alberta Golden Bears. See how low everybody gets? That's a great job by Barkley Spady. Super job. Keeps his feet, drives, grabs the ball carrier, Chris Lewis, and drives him back. Or, excuse me, Sean Latter.
And you get the indication from Dave Noonan, no touchdown, thank you very much. Well, Calgary's season could very well boil down to this next play. If the Dinosaurs don't get in, they're in a lot of trouble. Because you'd think that with 11:22 on the clock in Alberta, with the kind of running game it has, the Golden Bears could almost run out the clock if they go 108 yards.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if they go back to what they were doing before. When John Field earlier in the game was against Mike Cantillon, whether they got that, he has that big cushion, whether they'll look to John Field in the out.
Saskatchewan Huskies saying, don't count us out just yet, leading Manitoba 21-7. Here, it's 31-20 Alberta. This is third and goal, Calgary from the 2. Both backs in motion. Here comes Aston to throw. Pressure to the corner. Is it a touchdown? Yes, John Field. A diving grab in the corner of the end zone. And Calgary is right back in it. John Field with his second of the game, third touchdown reception of the season. And now we'll see what Canella decides to do, and I think they're going to go for 2.
Again, you get the rollout here. Now, John Field is driving against Mike Cantillon, and he drives him down the field, and then he turns out and works back. And we talked a little bit earlier about Jason Aston not getting around to set up. This time he fades away again because he's under some rush. But a nice job by John Field to work back and secure the football.
And that time, the ball did not bounce. And the referee right there to make the call. So, it's now 31-26, and Calgary will now go for 2 to try to pull within a field goal. Aston on the fake, has a man on the flat. Stahl, and he's got the 2 easily. Oh, what a big conversion that is, because now the Dinosaurs pull within 3. Now, the tie is something we hadn't talked about as a possibility today, but now it looms large. 31-28, Alberta leads Calgary. We're in for a finish at Commonwealth Stadium. Stick around, we'll be right back.
We got a hold of a geo-tracker and decided to use it to get to know Geo's roadside assistant.
So Scott locked the keys in the car intentionally for a change. What are you trying to say? Kelly phoned them, and I started the stopwatch. Yeah, nice shoes, zebra boy.
And we waited.
But you know what? Not for long, because 27 minutes and 35 seconds later, they showed up.
Mark from Roadside Assistance.
No big deal, really. What do you mean? Look at you, no big deal. Just another day at the office for Mark, though. Under 28 minutes.
They should deliver pizzas.
John Field's got a couple of touchdowns. The Calgary Dinosaurs are hanging in there. Alberta has run the ball right down their throats, but Calgary came back and threw it down.
Now, play-action pass. See the outside linebacker, Peter White? He's coming on the rush, and they have the inside linebacker, Sean Newton, trying to cover Gene Stahl. No way Newton's going to get out there. I think what the outside linebacker has to do is he has to disrupt the route of the fullback when he's coming out, assume that he's going to block. Therefore, he can't get out in the flat as easy, and it allows the inside linebacker to get over there and cover him. But a nice job by Jason Aston. Puts the ball right in the money when he has to, and he's had a great afternoon so far. We talked earlier in the telecast that Peter Cannellan said, this is the guy that's going to have to do it for us this year, and he certainly responded.
Simon Buffo and Mark Bennett back to receive the kickoff. And this is Bennett from the 5. He's got a wall set up. Here he goes, and he vaults his way up close to the 40-yard line. And look who came down to make the tackle. Mr. Everything for Calgary, Don Blair. You see Jason Aston talking it over with offensive coordinator Dennis Holowaychuk. Here's the high jump by Bennett.
And look who's making the tackle once again, number 20. Don Blair doing everything today.
The return was 34 yards. First and 10 Alberta, just shy of its own 40-yard line. The last drive, 4:43 for Calgary, and John Field hauls in the 2-yard touchdown pass on 3rd and goal. I'd be shocked if Alberta threw it here. Oh, it's a toss, but it's to Jay Hamilton. Hamilton riding his way outside. And even when they stack it up, he picks up 6 or 7 yards.
That's what's amazing about that. You're right, Gord. It is 6 or 7 yards. It looks like the play doesn't have anything going for it. They're trying to do some things now with Calgary's linebackers. James Anderson, the linebacker, trying to run underneath. So he's trying to run underneath and get Hamilton. Hamilton's too fast for him, and a nice block by Darcy Park, the lead fullback. He gets the first person around the corner and just engages him and gets him on roller skates.
Gain of 6. Now 2nd and 4 Alberta at its own 46-yard line. Lots of time left, 10:15 in the 4th quarter. It's a 3-point Alberta lead. Here's Hamilton, and he's got it at first down as he gets across the 50 to the 51, a gain of 5.
Jay Hamilton's going to be in the tub tomorrow afternoon, I tell you what. Good, nice on his legs. He's had a real tough afternoon, but he's putting up some great numbers.
The 2nd leading rusher in Canada West entering this weekend. He's having a huge afternoon here today. 1st and 10 Alberta at its own 51-yard line. The clock running at under 9:40 now to play. They go to the other side to Hamilton. Here he comes again across midfield, still going. And down across the Calgary 50 to about the 49-yard line, a gain of 9, close to another first down.
You know, we talked to Tom Wilkinson yesterday, and he told me they have this reach toss. They call it a toss scheme. This is what everybody kind of took from UBC back in the early 1980s when they ran it so successfully with Glenn Steele. They reach block everybody. They bring out Darcy Park. He gets the first guy around the corner, and now they allow Hamilton to pick his way.
The gain was 9, and he's got 187 yards in the football game so far. We've still got 9 minutes to play. Now 2nd and a yard. Early movement, flags are down. That'll be procedure against Alberta. You mentioned the old UBC offense. This is actually Tom Wilkinson going down to the basement and dusting off an old Edmonton Eskimo playbook. In fact, Hugh Campbell said to me yesterday that he's watched Alberta play a number of times this year. That's the old 1978 Edmonton Eskimo offense. The Acadia Axemen defeat St. Francis Xavier 27-24 in AUAA action. That's a huge win for them because now, look at this. Toronto now has come back and leads McMaster 21-13, so don't count the Vanier Cup champions out just yet. Ottawa leads Queens 29-16. That's the last game for Doug Hargraves, who had a stellar CIAU coaching career. Well, it's now 2nd and 6 Alberta. Zachkowski's under pressure. He throws it, and it's through the hands of Park. In fact, almost went to Manny D'Souza, but the pass falls incomplete. And now a punting situation for Alberta and a big defensive stand for Calgary. Well, the Dinosaurs, when they had to, got the help from the penalty and then stopped Alberta up. And Calgary will get the football back and a chance to retake the lead.
That's the kind of philosophy, I guess, that Calgary has decided to play, kind of that bend, don't break style of defense where you hope the offense is going to make some mistakes. But take a look at the pressure. They're coming after Zachkowski with big-time pressure. They're bringing the halfback, Greg Heiss. He gets in his face.
And there's an injured Calgary Dinosaur on the play. It's defensive lineman number 62, Jay Kleinsasser. So he received attention on the field. Just to go back to the U of A offense, Hugh Campbell said it was like watching old game film, watching Alberta play. The lead block by the fullback that used to be Lumsden, and the tailback, which used to be Germany, comes around the corner, and the offensive line just pushes straight ahead. And there's Jay Kleinsasser, the injured player, first-year guy. And another first-year player who's taken over for graduating stars from the University of Calgary, Chris Penner, one of the outstanding linebackers, lost by the Calgary Dinosaurs last year. Here's McKenzie now to punt from his 45. Another great towering punt. Chases Klein back to his 12. And Klein lost the football. He lost it at the 20, but he got it back. A return of 8 yards. And the Dinosaurs have it back at their 20 with 8:05 to play in the fourth. Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. I'm Gord Miller along with Jamie Bowe and the rest of the TSN crew watching Canada West football action and seeing Kevin Klein almost fumble the game away for Calgary. And just got it back at the 20-yard line. That's where the Calgary Dinosaurs will begin. And Klein was lucky to just bounce right back to it.
And lost the handle. Carrying the ball in the right hand, but he's kind of lost the handle. Lucky to get it back. It's going to be very important for Calgary in this drive to maintain their poise and patience.
Kevin Klein's first career touchdown put Calgary ahead for good in the Canada West final last year against Alberta. Now his team trails by 3 with 7:56 to play in the fourth quarter. And Aston's going to come up throwing. And he's got Don Blair up around the 39-yard line. Blair has another Calgary first down.
I tell you, Don Blair is just eating this zone alive.
Jamie, a gain of 19 yards.
I mean, he just runs right down the seam, and Jason Aston just sees him wide open. All the defensive backs are way, way off right now. I think you've got to get somebody up in this guy's face. You can play zone, but you need a guy on him.
Calgary first and 10 from its own 39. Aston, quick drop. There he is again, Don Blair at the 46. A flag is down as Blair tries to vault for the first down. And he's got a gain of about 9. We'll see what the flag's all about. And it's procedure Calgary. This is coming back. Well, you talk about costly penalties. When you throw the ball that efficiently, get close to a first down. Now, it'll be first and 15, a chance for Alberta to tee it up.
First down repeated.
Yeah, those kill you.
And Peter Cannellan is the man seated just to the left of that pillar. And some of his assistant coaches didn't like that call very much. And they spotted the ball at the wrong spot there, actually. They had to call play. They spotted it back 8 yards instead of 5. Look at this seesaw battle. Concordia with a 7-point lead over Bishop's 30-23 in the fourth quarter in the race for playoff position in the Ontario-Quebec Conference. Now first and 15 Calgary. And Aston's going for a bundle. He's got a man. He's got the catch. Inside Alberta territory to the 45-yard line is Kevin Klein. With a gain of 31 yards and a huge Calgary first down.
This is absolutely a beautiful play. Watch, roll out to the right here. That's just throwback. Bang, he gets set. He's going back to Klein the whole way. You can see they catch the defenders for Alberta sneaking a peek inside, and they get caught out of position. That's a great throw and a nice catch by Kevin Klein.
Wasn't the prettiest pass you've ever seen, but it got the job done. Here's Aston once again. Over the middle, he's got Blair, and Blair is down to the 35-yard line. 10 yards, close to another Calgary first down. And 6:40 to play and counting in the fourth quarter. Calgary threatening.
Jason Aston again looks to Don Blair. U of A just have not been able to figure this guy out yet. Now with another reception.
Boy, it's been a clinic by Alberta's running game and by Calgary's combination of Aston to Don Blair. 294 yards passing. Going to one guy. And now over the middle, this is the fullback Gene Stahl, and Stahl has a gain of 8. And he's down to about the 24-yard line. The fullback Gene Stahl.
You know, Alberta right now defensively is thinking primarily pass. Primarily pass. Everybody's trying to get off the ball, thinking pass. They run the ball. A nice job by Gene Stahl. Referee kind of gets in the way as well.
Get a helmet for that guy. It's a first down for the Calgary Dinosaurs at the Alberta 24-yard line. Here comes Aston to the sideline, and he's got Klein. Klein gets stuffed at the 15-yard line as cornerback Mike Hogan makes the stop. He's close to another first down after a gain of 9.
Well, I think that's going to put Jason Aston over 300 yards this afternoon. It's a great afternoon for Jason Aston, but what's been very impressive about him as well has been his poise. You know, you never really got the sense that Calgary panicked at any time in this game. When they fell behind, they methodically just continued to come up and run their offense.
Now 2nd and 1 from the 15-yard line. And Aston's going to throw. He's looking to the end zone, and it's knocked away on a great defensive play by Ian Hilt, who just flew through the air and knocked that down. The fifth-year education student just dove across and took that right away from Don Blair.
And I'm sure Jason Aston thought he had another touchdown. He was looking at Don Blair all the way. Good coverage by Hilt. Look at that. Stretches out, knocks it away. That's great defense.
Strangely enough, with all the passes they throw to Blair, they don't go down to much in this area. And now they gamble on 3rd and 1. And Aston will just take it straight ahead. That was the plan all along, and they didn't get it. And he's down to about the 13-yard line and another Calgary first down.
And that's a good call, actually. 2nd down, trying to go to the end zone when it's 2nd and short, knowing you're in 3-down territory.
Well, he had Blair open. I don't think he believed Hiltz could fly.
3rd down, less than a yard. Quarterback keeps it, of course.
And now 1st and 10 Calgary from the Alberta 12-yard line. What an impressive march this has been by the Calgary Dinosaurs.
Well, they've been having pretty good success of throwing the ball to John Field down in this situation. We'll see if they go back to him.
Rolling to his right. Aston has lots of time. Throwing to the end zone, and it is a touchdown. And it's John Field again. So they use Don Blair to get close, and then they go John Field in the end zone. 3rd touchdown catch of the day. And this guy is on fire.
You know, it's amazing. They line up John Tate, the 6th defensive back, right over John Field, and then they pass him on. Again, the semi-rollout. He's looking at John Field the whole way. Makes a nice adjustment back to the football.
Here's a guy who came into the game with 1 touchdown catch. And now has 4 thanks to his day-to-day. And here's Parsons for the point after, and a big one. He puts it through, and now the Dinosaurs on top by 4, lead 35-31, and 4 is a key number in the points for and against race between these two teams. John Field has 3 touchdowns through the air. The last one puts his team in front once again.
And this time they try to double him. They try to have a guy right in front of him, but then they release him, and then he works back in the hook. You see number 5, that's Sean Tate, and then he comes again right in front of Mike Cantillon.
Stay tuned at the conclusion of today's game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Sony.
What can you say?
Jason Aston on the bench for the Calgary Dinosaurs.
What can you say about Jason Aston? He has done everything this afternoon for this Dinosaur football team. Very impressive performance, a 4th-year player out of Bishop Grandin High School.
Here's Parsons, kicks it deep. And taken there by Simon Buffo from his own end zone as he had trouble corralling it. He may get hemmed in deep. He is stuck inside the 8. Big special teams play by the Calgary Dinosaurs back to the 7-yard line. And that's where Alberta will begin. So trailing by 4 with 4:40 on the clock, Alberta has the long field to go.
This is a huge play for the University of Calgary. Has trouble getting the handle on the football. He finally picks it up. There's really not much. Everybody's down in their lanes, and they get down and converge on it. It's up there, run the perimeter. Good hustle by Calgary special teams.
And 4 is the key number here because that was the margin of Alberta's victory in Calgary. Give to Jay Hamilton on 1st down, and this time not much doing. Mike Nightingale, the linebacker, got in early, forced him inside, and that forced him into the hands of the waiting defender, Garrett Everson. The plays, 9 for 90 yards, 3:13 on the clock, and John Field with 3 touchdowns receiving today. Boy, when you think about the role that Don Blair plays on this football team, but he does have a touchdown catch today.
Yeah, they work in between the 20s. That's right. And they go to John Field down in the...
And you heard Field say 1 more point. We'll explain that in a moment. Virtually no gain for Hamilton. It's now 2nd and 10, and Dejkowski's going to have to go to the air. Better watch he gets out of the end zone here. He just gets it away. Almost intercepted. Oh, what a big break that would have been for the Calgary Dinosaurs and Dan Jeremiah. He very nearly picked that off at the Alberta 18-yard line.
Good job by Calgary's defense to contain Dejkowski. Do not allow him to get outside. Now they force him back inside. That's where all the help is. He throws the ball away. was actually looking for Grant McIntyre and almost came up with a big interception was Dan Jeremiah.
And I believe he is the injured Calgary Dinosaur. He might have fallen the football.
He just kind of winded himself, maybe.
And Jeremiah gets up, and it appears he was winded. Now, the margin of victory for Alberta in the first meeting was 4. If the two teams end up tied in points for and against, then you have to go to secondary tiebreakers, which becomes points scored and then points allowed. And all kinds of complicated mathematical formulas come into place. But the Dinosaurs should have excellent field position here and a chance to get at least 1 point, and that would be huge in the points for and against. And McKenzie gets away his worst punt of the day. It bounces, and Blair will scoop it up at about the 50-yard line. Trying to find somewhere to run, and he ran right into an Alberta defender. He got smacked by Scott Mills. 3:22 to play in the fourth quarter. Alberta down by 4. Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Look at the pounding Western put on Guelph. 55-25, 31 points in the third quarter. That game is still going in the fourth quarter. Second-ranked Laurier with a lead over Windsor 46-3. Bill Kubas has set the CIAU career record for passing yards, surpassing Greg Vavra. And here's a guy who may get some activity in the near future. That's Bruce Parsons, the kicker for the Calgary Dinosaurs. And remember him in the Vanier Cup last year, had a chance to tie the game in the dying moments. That was blocked. Here, if he can get 1 more point, Calgary would win the game by 5, and that would sink Alberta's playoff hopes. And I think you'd have to say, Jamie, after what we've seen today, a lot of teams would be happy. First and 10 Dinosaurs from the 47-yard line. Aston's going to throw on first down. Over the middle and incomplete. He was looking for Kevin Klein, and Kevin Algar, the linebacker, was there on the coverage. The Dinosaurs need to get at least 2 first downs before a field goal becomes a reasonable possibility. And now Alberta comes in with its nickel package on 2nd and 10. Big defensive play for the Alberta Golden Bears. Remember, they have to win the game to secure a playoff spot. If they lose by 4 or less, their chances are still pretty slim. They'd need some help, and it doesn't look like UBC is in any shape to challenge this Calgary team this year. So we're set for what should be a terrific finish here with under 3 minutes to play now in the fourth quarter. 2nd and 10. Empty backfield. Aston rolling to the near side. Under pressure, now Aston takes off. And he stopped short of the first down as he's grabbed the 40-yard line. Randy Rush hustled from his defensive end position to limit the gain to 7. It'll bring up 3rd and 3, and this would be a 47-yard field goal try.
Now take a look. They're playing man coverage underneath, zone on top, and see how everything opens up here in the middle? Now Aston decides to take off with it, but a good job by Randy Rush to come off, rushing the passer to make the tackle.
Now here's my question. Hiltz is going back. This will be a 47-yard field goal try. If he misses, do you bring it out?
Absolutely. Absolutely, you bring it out.
Well, I guess you have to. You can't afford to give him the 5. Well, this is set up for an interesting finish here. And Parsons, if he puts it through, makes all that discussion academic. From the 47. He's got the distance. He's got the field goal. And the Calgary Dinosaurs erupt like they just won the Vanier Cup. They're rushing onto the field to congratulate their kicker, Bruce Parsons, who makes a 47-yard field goal. And now the Dinosaurs lead by 7.
Now what's interesting here is the situation that it creates for Alberta. Is if you get down the field, are you now trying to play for the field goal or for the touchdown or the win? I mean, you'd like to get the win. But the field goal is vitally important for your playoff.
I think realistically, even if they lose, they need UBC to beat Calgary. I mean, if you're going to pin your playoff hopes on UBC beating Calgary at McMahon Stadium, that's a pretty long shot. Look at Bruce Parsons. 1st and 10 Alberta from the 35. 2:14 to play, fourth quarter. Stachkowski up and throwing. Has a man, but he one-hopped it. He was looking there to Manny D'Souza, the leading receiver for the Golden Bears coming into this game, but he's had a pretty quiet afternoon.
And these are the kind of guys you like. Bruce Parsons, when it has to come down to a big kick, put it through.
Boy, you got to give the Calgary Dinosaurs all kinds of credit. They've just been pounded.
Back home, man. We're coming home with it. Here we go. Here we go. Mom's up in the stand, so I can't say hi to Mom, but I'll say hi to all the nurses back in Calgary. Hi, guys.
Bruce Parsons, a nursing student at the University of Calgary, and an academic All-Canadian last year to boot. And that 47-yard boot gave his team some very important points. 2nd and 10 from the 35. Stankowski throwing over the middle, picked off! Nightingale, the linebacker, has it for Calgary. Oh, what a huge defensive play for a Calgary defense that has been battered all afternoon. Mike Nightingale with the interception. And the Dinosaurs, with 2:01 to play, are in the driver's seat.
Just great defense by Mike Nightingale, the linebacker back covering off. The receiver Grant McIntyre stepped in front.
And Alberta's epitaph may very well read, it lived by the run, it died by the pass.
It's funny about these teams, though, Gord, teams that know how to win, teams like Calgary, who've been in the thick of things for all those years in the 80s and the 90s, they always seem to come up with ways to beat you.
1st and 10 Calgary from the Alberta 51. Aston gives it off to Stahl, and the big fullback has a gain of 8, and Calgary takes a page from Alberta's playbook. Right now, Alberta calls timeout. 1:58 to play in the 4th quarter. The gain was 8. It'll be 2nd and 2.
Number 36, David Alberta.
Coming up next on TSN, it's the Las Vegas Invitational. Scott Hope had the lead after the 3rd round of this 5-round tournament from the sands of Vegas. And the PGA season soon coming to a close. And we'll have the Tour Championship for you coming up next week on TSN. Tom Wilkinson's back down on the sidelines for Alberta. Hugh Campbell said he brings presence wherever he goes. And now he hopes his presence can help his team. And Tom Wilkinson's final game in the CFL might have been his most memorable. Edmonton went 14-1-1 in 1981, went to the Grey Cup game against an Ottawa Rough Rider team, then a losing record. They were 5-11. They had a rookie quarterback named J.C. Watts. They led 20-1 at the half. Edmonton came back, led by Wilkinson. And look at Bishops, a final, beats Concordia 31-6 with a touchdown very late in the 4th quarter and a 2-point conversion. And Bishops has beaten Concordia, and now it's wide open in the Ontario-Quebec Conference.
And how do you feel if you're Concordia? You lost the game last week by a point to McGill, and now you lost by a point to Bishops.
Both those teams are now 4-3 on the season. Here's the toss to Lewis. He needs the 41 for the first down. He should have it. The tackle's made by Kotick, but it didn't look to be in time. And that should be a very big first down for the Calgary Dinosaurs with 1:53 to play.
And a smart play by Lewis here when he gets the ball. See how he gets outside? You know, he thinks he can get around the corner, but he knows, no, I don't want to go out of bounds. I got to turn it up the field. He wants to keep the clock moving. Lewis, 6 feet, 195-pound tailback at a St. Francis High School. A lot of Calgary players out of that school, of course, in Calgary.
Well, the Dinosaurs deserve all kinds of credit this afternoon. They've hung in there and never panicked. And that's the sign of a team that went to the Vanier Cup last year and has served notice that it would like to return this season.
And this guy's just shown absolutely great poise. You know, they say leadership is the ability to keep your head when those about you are losing theirs, and he's certainly done a great job this afternoon.
The Manitoba Bisons have tied Saskatchewan at 21 at the half. The Huskies were off and running in the opening moments of that game, but now Manitoba looks to be a factor in deciding who will finish first in Canada West. And Calgary would not be out of it if Saskatchewan lost.
Battle of 2 great backs in that game. Maury Norriston, of course, from Saskatchewan, but Dominic Gary, the leading ball carrier in Canada West.
Boy, you think back in this game to the 3rd down gamble by Alberta at midfield that gave the Dinosaurs the ball back, then offside on the field goal on that same drive that gave them new life and resulted in a touchdown. It allowed Calgary to get back in the football game, and the Dinosaurs have hung in ever since and now have the lead. By 7 with 1:53 to go in the 4th quarter and a first down. To Chris Lewis. This time not much doing. Kevin Algar stacked him up after a gain of maybe a couple. But the clock is now becoming Alberta's decided enemy. And a team that runs the ball like Alberta does cannot move it down the field very quickly, and that's the big problem.
And that was a concern that Tom Wilkinson had about his team. He said, you know, that's one thing about us. We've never, when we're behind in football games, we have to rely on the pass to win it. We're not really sure and really very confident that we can come back and do that. They like to keep the lead and be able to run the football.
Clock running at 1:36 and counting in the fourth quarter. It's 2nd and 9. Here's the toss to Lewis. Reverses his field and gets nothing. He's driven back. Dave Noonan came up to help make the stop. He got some help from defensive back Kevin Kotick, the safety. 1:26 to go in the fourth quarter. This will likely set up a Parsons field goal attempt that could put the game out of reach. You know, in 1984, Alberta went 7-1. Hosted the Canada West final here in Edmonton. Calgary finished second, came up and absolutely blasted them. It was one of the most bitter pills an Alberta University football team has ever had to swallow. This you'd have to think is another, because they have to feel through the opening half that they outplayed Calgary. But the Dinosaurs, with all kinds of guts in the second half, can really put the game out of reach here with a 45-yard field goal attempt by Bruce Parsons. He's got enough distance. And he just nails it through. And look out. It's now a 10-point Calgary lead with 1:03 to play. And the Alberta Golden Bears likely just saw their season sink with that field goal. And the Calgary Dinosaurs have to feel pretty confident that not only are they going to the playoffs, but with Saskatchewan playing without all-star quarterback Brent Schneider, this could again be the Dinosaurs' year.
And take a look at Bruce Parsons. I mean, talk about confidence. Earlier in the game, it was life and death to kick a 45-yarder. That one there would have been good from 60. He really gets his leg into it now, kicking with great confidence.
Well, it's 1st and 10 Alberta from the 35, but the Golden Bears need the ball twice. And the pass is dropped by the intended receiver, Manny D'Souza, right at midfield. And now under a minute to go, 59 seconds to play here in the fourth quarter. Sean Zajkowski, a former All-Canadian as a junior football player with the Saskatoon Hilltops and the Edmonton Wildcats, was a national junior champion with the Saskatoon Hilltops. And he's got a long future ahead of him with the U of A Golden Bears. This is his first year. He's had a great afternoon, but his opposite number, Jason Assen, has been great in the second half. Here's Zajkowski back to throw. Over the middle, and D'Souza makes a great diving catch. No, they rule it incomplete at the Alberta 51-yard line. They say he juggled the football, and now 55 seconds to go in the fourth quarter.
Again, D'Souza coming down, gets a move, comes across the middle. Ball put there right in the money. Those are the big catches you're going to have to come down with in big games. Come down with a couple of nice receptions this afternoon. That would have been a big important one now. Now it's third down.
And at Commonwealth Stadium, which has been a graveyard for so many good Calgary teams, the Dinosaurs look to put the nail to Alberta here. Zajkowski's got lots of pressure. Now he's taking off and running. Long way to go. And he's got there. Still going. Trying to get out of bounds, and he does at the 54-yard line. Good play to get out of bounds, but 45 seconds to play.
I'm sure what they're thinking now is a touchdown. It becomes a three-point game, and points scored again loom very big in Canada West.
That's all Alberta really you have to think can do now is try to score the touchdown here, limit the points for and against, hope somehow that Calgary loses to UBC next week, and if they beat Manitoba, they can still make the playoffs. It's a long shot, though. Frank Smith, though, the UBC Thunderbirds, you know Frank will play all his starters in that game because he loves being involved, even if his team isn't. Manny D'Souza with the catch down to the 45. 40 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. Alberta has to hustle here. As the ball is spotted, they'll soon blow the clock back into motion.
Well, they'll wait till the sticks are set.
And conveniently for Alberta, the sticks got tangled, so it gives them a chance to call the play. Funny how that never happens to the road team. Somebody tied a knot in the chain. Zajkowski rolling to his right. Has protection. Has a man, D'Souza. inbounds at the 33-yard line. 34 seconds to play.
And more importantly, he gets out of bounds. That was a great pass by Stachowski. Dan Jeremiah just misses it. Great concentration.
Gain was 13 yards. And now a first down, Alberta, from the 33-yard line. And 34 seconds to go. Alberta needs the touchdown to have any hopes of making the playoffs. Going to the end zone, and the receiver seemed to make a different turn. Now there's a flag in the Alberta backfield, and that may be a late hit on Troy Eddington. As Stachowski got smacked well after he threw the ball, it was way over the head of Manny D'Souza, and we'll see what the call is. It's holding Alberta. And that is crushing. Now 29 seconds to play, fourth quarter.
Holding number 66, Alberta. First down repeated.
Nord, the left tackle, is called. And Patrick Nord's penalty moves them back and puts them at the 42-yard line. Now a first and 20 Alberta. 29 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Draw play, and Alberta's running game fails it this time as Jay Hamilton stopped at the 41-yard line. Now Alberta has to hustle because the clock's going to start running.
Jay Hamilton on the ball. I'm sure they thought they could try and pop one through there. Well, Calgary are thinking pass all the way, and guys working up the field to get the pass rush on Stachowski.
Not much of a gain for Hamilton, maybe a couple. Second and 18. Quick throw over the middle, and it's incomplete. First pass they've thrown today to Grant McIntyre. The ball's behind him, incomplete. And one more chance for Alberta. It's third down. 20 seconds to go, fourth quarter.
You know, we talked a little bit earlier about these are the kind of catches you have to come up with in football games. It's a little bit low, but nevertheless, that's the difference between a team that goes on into the playoffs and ones that don't. You know, he really wasn't looking for the football. It was down low, but
tough situation for Grant McIntyre. The guy hasn't had a pass thrown his way all day, and suddenly in the final seconds of the fourth quarter, they throw one to him on second and long. Now it's third and long. And Stachowski stepped back too quickly. There's all kinds of early movement, but no flags. They all got back. Stachowski throwing it long. He's got a man open, and he's got the ball at the 3. Jay Hamilton. What a catch by Hamilton. Huge for Alberta. Down to the 3-yard line.
Now there's 14 seconds left, and the clock's going to start once they set the 3-yard markers. But they just sent Hamilton right down the seam, and Stachowski puts it right up. A great catch.
Slim hope is better than no hope at all. It was a 38-yard gain. First and goal now from the 3. Clock running, 13 seconds. They give to the fullback, and Park gets tripped up. Solid defensive play by the Calgary defender. Dan Jeremiah got up quickly to stop him short. 10 seconds. And you hear Wilkie yelling for the hurry-up offense.
Well, they want to at least try and get 2 plays off here, 2 chances to get in the end zone. See, Park is hurt.
And Park is really hurt. Nobody in the backfield. Stachowski's going back to throw. He's under pressure. He slipped and he's down. Oh, what a huge play by Calgary. Schmulin got in there, and he got some help from a couple of his teammates. Now it's third down. And Park is down. And you know why they're yelling for him to go down, because the clock would have started otherwise.
Well, I think they're only going to get 1 play left here anyway. It is third down, so it doesn't really matter if they let the clock run out now.
But it gives him time to talk to Stachowski at the bench and get the play in that he wants.
That's what it does. Watch this. He slips right here. His knee goes down there. It's whistled dead. He didn't have much of a chance anyway if his knee didn't go down. They had the great pass rush with Schmulin in there.
Darcy Park was injured earlier when he had his feet cut out from underneath him trying to get to the end zone. So Tom Wilkinson and the Golden Bears season will come down to this play and then next weekend. If Alberta scores here, Alberta has to beat Manitoba and hope UBC beats Calgary.
Here's Park getting hurt. You can see right there his right leg gets cut out from underneath him. Looking at his ankle or his shin. Looked like he took the helmet right on the shin. That would be devastating if they lose him. He's had a great year.
He had 3 touchdowns against Calgary in the first meeting between the two schools, and he would have loved to have a touchdown here to bring his team close. Well, now they've had time to talk about it. Zajkowski has heard the play that he wants. You see Tom Wilkinson, a master of last-second plays, and look at the helmet on the knee. Ouch.
Yeah, that's when you hope it is just a bruised knee and nothing more serious than that. It looked like the leg didn't stay planted, but nonetheless, he was in extreme pain and stayed in there for one more play.
And they'll get some teammates to assist him off the football field.
He must have some kind of pain threshold, because if that is a knee, and you heard of the play before, for him to stay in there and still perform is really incredible.
So Wilkinson's season will come down to one play. These guys have taken a giant step towards a playoff spot. And we mentioned earlier, Brent Schneider, the all-star quarterback for Calgary, or for Saskatchewan rather, is injured. No one knows when he'll be back or if he'll be back. So everything's wide open in Canada West. But their focus is here. And Alberta's last gasp. 3rd and goal from the 9-yard line. 6 seconds to play in the 4th quarter. Alberta cannot win the football game, but it can keep its hopes alive. Here they go. 3rd down. They fake to Hamilton. Zajkowski trying to get outside. He's being pursued. He's got to get to the end zone. Did he get there? Yes! Touchdown, Alberta! No time on the clock. And Zajkowski just eluded the defender who almost had him stopped at the 14-yard line. Rob Richards had a grasp at him, but came up with nothing but air, and Zajkowski has kept Alberta's hopes alive.
And this was run all the way. Rob Richards has primary contain, but he gets outside and just can't make the tackle. But a good job by Zajkowski to read his block just to get into the corner of the end zone. Rob Richards right there tries to make the swipe at his legs, misses him, but now he holds on here and gets a great block right there to get into the end zone.
And now the extra point that will give Alberta the edge this year in the points for and against between the two teams. They'll each have 1 win, and Alberta would win the battle in points for and against should they wind up tied at the end of this season. The victory, of course, is most important for Calgary because the Dinosaurs now control their own destiny. They'll go to 5-2. And it's blocked! The convert is blocked! And you know the Dinosaurs are well aware of that. Now the two teams are even in points for and against. The football game is over, and it's going to be a wild finish next weekend because points scored are going to make the difference. But for all intents and purposes, that ends Alberta's season.
And the Golden Bears, thank you for your attention.
No time left on the clock. What a wild finish here at Commonwealth Stadium. And it was Tate for the extra point.
See all sorts of gaps. That's it. 76 gets in there. Garrett Everson now. If you look at the blocker, he's always supposed to step hard inside. Just take a look at the bottom of your screen here, to the left of your screen. He steps inside. He doesn't. He goes outside and allows a seam for Everson to get in, and he blocks it. First things first, you have to take care of the guys closest to the football.
So the teams line up to shake hands. It was another classic confrontation between teams from Edmonton and Calgary. It came right down to the final seconds, and this guy really made the play for the Calgary Dinosaurs. Blocking the convert attempt, Calgary wins the game. And now the Dinosaurs look to be a pretty sure bet to get to the Canada West playoffs with a 41-37 win over Alberta. For the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Sony.
Late in the 4th quarter with Calgary trailing by 4 points. Jason Assen gets the aerial game intact once again as he drops back and finds his favorite receiver in the end zone, John Field.
That touchdown and a 2-point conversion gave Calgary the edge it needed, and the Dinosaurs come up with a big victory at Commonwealth Stadium. A cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of Canadian coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN and Sony, the new B-Series Trinitron. Now our our Geo player of the game, it is Jason Aston of the Calgary Dinosaurs. Jason, we had to give you a lot of credit in that football game. You guys hung in there when they were pounding you with the running game. What were you guys talking about at halftime?
Well, at halftime in the locker room, we just came out and said, you know, we're a decent football team and we can play with these guys. You know, they weren't running away from us. We weren't running away from them.
Jason, what can you say about Don Blair? I mean, he was Mr. Everything for you this afternoon.
Well, he's been that all year for me, as you can tell by his stats. So, you know, people just can't defend him. He's doing a good job. He's having a great year.
Let me ask you another question. Why is it between the 20s you're looking for Don Blair, but when you get down to the end zone, you're looking for John Field?
Well, they had one-on-one coverage, and they were playing him inside out, so it was easy for him to run the quick out.
One thing that's very impressive about your comeback today was you guys never seemed to lose your poise at all. You maintained strong leadership. You never seemed to get down. Is that very important in this team? Is that something that Peter Cannellan really tries to drill into this football club?
Yeah, I think he does every week in practice and stuff like that. We've been in a few tight games this year where it's been back and forth, and you got to come back and score, so it was a good game.
Jason, congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Jason Aston, our Geo player of the game, and GM Canada will contribute $500 to Calgary. In behalf of our player of the game, Jason Aston, the Geo player of the game this afternoon at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. The Calgary Dinosaurs with the win, 41-37. Back with more in a moment.